right, shout out to Gemini, Andrew, and Madison in the house. Gonna get this party started real soon.
And the pot calls the kettle black, calls the kettle burnt, calls her mad. Kettle reminds the pot that we both been burned on the same stove, that the parts of our bodies that are layered in soot were scorched by the same hands. Kettle tells pot that she still boils water, holds the hot breath of a white man's tongue, endures the slow simmer of a white woman's allyship, and still we make something beautiful. Pot calls the kettle wicked, and kettle says no, but says she's so magical she burned the hand of the last man who tried to pour himself a piece of her. Says she's so black she is everything, so black she is the beginning. She is the first thing someone finds home in when they wake up in the morning. Says ain't that what it means to be black? To have the world go up in flames around you and still be sanctuary for someone, saving men who lost themselves the night before, saving men who curse our names but forget his mama is made of steel too. And now the pot has no words but calls the kettle bitter, but loves the glass pan, the fine china, loves all the exotic shit white men put behind glass casings, loves how fragile things not made of steel can be. But this isn't about the pot or the pan. This is about the kettle, the black woman, how she pours herself across the earth, but no one bats an eye when the water disappears. We give ourselves to men who never love us, but they say we are difficult, too hard to break. How we, the kettle, praise this pot, this man for all the water he holds. How we are the only ones who do not call him monster when the water boils over, because we know this heat, this white flame, hot enough to make any of us explode. We are the first ones to make noise when the world goes up in flames, but they say the earth was saved by the man who heard her scream. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says yes, but says you best remember you black too. The next time they bring a fire to your neck, they burn black bodies on the stake and the stove. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says bitch I might be, says nuck if you buck, then says wipe me down. Kettle says yes my nigga, I be black, I be mad, and I boiled the last man down to his bones when he tried to test me. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says hell yes, but don't say my name as if you ain't ever been burnt too.
DJ Torch on the 1-2s. Like to got the shout-outs in the house. Hey lady in the house. Siobhan in the house. Gemini in the house. Jenny B in the house. Mika's Jules in the house. Kay Cooper in the house. Tiff is in the house. In the house. Heathen Queen in the house. Jenny B in the house. Madison Goldman in the house. Andrew 100. Here we go. We're about to get this party started right about now. We're about to get this. Uh-oh. I've been told I'm boring. 1 second. Let me see if I can fix that. All right. Hopefully that'll fix it. Here we go. Second
All right, family, we have reached the end of the show, but before I let you go, I want to respond to my friend and colleague, Ebby K. Williams, who last week on her show said that she would not date a bus driver. She would date a guy if he owned a bus, but not if he was a bus driver. Here's my thought. First, people by their labor, but there is dignity in all labor. We drive a bus, but work. It doesn't matter. You're a human being with character and personality and ideas and interests. And that should be the primary thing that we ask when we're looking for relationships. Is this person good for me? So to me, that's more interesting. And if we only look for people who make the same amount of money, we're going to have some problems. At the same time,
okay, hold on 1 second. I heard that the video is bugging out. Let's see what we can do here. If the sound was good, hit 1. If the sound was bad, hit 2.
Feel you, Ebony. I understand completely why Ebony feels that way, because Black women are the only demographic of people in this country who are systematically expected to date below their education and their income. And so when a lot of you are mad at Ebony for responding, it's not because you have some grand character. It's because y'all think Black women should have a lower. It's y'all think that
Okay, there we go. Okay, so does it sound good? I'm sorry, I should have said sound good, hit good, sound bad, hit not good. Anyway, what I would like to discuss is the situation with basically, it seems like only community we know of that asks the women to date down. That's what's going on. Hopeful EC in the chat, melanated vessel in the chat. This is really weird because let's say, see, the problem I have and why I'm going to continue to be playing the pot calling the kettle black in the beginning is that if any of these men were older and had a young lady in their family, do you really believe they would be happy with that young lady, especially if she had a lot of potential? Dating a bus driver. They don't think about it like that. That's the funny thing, is that it seems like a lot of men try something out real quick. I'll be right back. All right, mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Let me know if that's cool. Okay. So no, I mean the core skill, the core quality right here that we're looking for is just the simplicity of empathy. Would you want your daughter to date or date or marry a bus driver? I worked in school districts. I know who bus drivers are. And bus drivers, we want to be extremely literal about it, bus drivers are extremely cantankerous for a pretty decent reason. I mean, it's not like they get the best, customers in the world, so they're cantankerous. So Iyanla already, by her example, she's already become questionable. If we were supposed to take a logical view on it, she's already questionable because she picked a bus driver. No, I don't want my daughter who graduated from college dating a bus driver. It just doesn't work. And not because the person's status, right? It's just the kind of job it is, the kind of people it attracts. And the fact of the matter is that you want somebody equally yoked for the best results. That's what you want. Could you end up with a bus driver? Quite honestly, out of the millions of bus drivers out there, or hundreds of thousands, whatever you want to call it, I'm sure there are some good ones that have the good people with. But I mean, look at what you're doing. You're wanting to thread the needle on a very small needle. You're trying to thread the needle on a very small needle. I mean, come on. I mean, nobody else has to do it, so why should black women have to do it? Why should black women have to do that? That scam that Kevin Samuels was running was only a scam. He couldn't get the men. The reason why Kevin Samuels started disrespecting black women and putting them down and telling them to choose less. Number one, he himself was less. Number two, he couldn't get the guys to raise themselves up. There was no, he was also say, wow, I was a bus, but now, okay, there we go. Okay, so anyway, that's the problem. Hopeful EC says, Iyanla could have said, I understand the plight. We need to create communities so that our women don't have to date out at any level. Yeah, I could see that, but I think the community has gotten to a point where it's gone past that. I heard I'm borging again. Hold on one second. Let's try this again. All right, I'm back. I might need to do this all night, but hey, we'll get through it. Okay. So let's keep going. Let's keep going here. Let me know if you can hear this okay. Hold on one second. Let me get this online. So we doing fine. But I think it's important to get a man's perspective on this too, because I'm a man. And I think it's important because I haven't seen any men out there giving their perspective unless it was to defend Kevin Samuelites. So that's kind of stupid because again, we're talking about a man who was greatly flawed. Everyone has flaws, but he showed no um he showed no what's the best word I can put out here? He showed no positive change except for that he ran a great scam. Let me just be honest with you about that. He showed no positive change. A ladies in the house, Miss RV is in the house, Hopeful EC is in the house, Madison's in the house, Siobhan is in the house, Jenny's in the house, Melanated Vessel is in the house. It saddens me when older generations don't seem to be paying attention to what's been going on out here. Exactly. or don't care and pass out bogus advice they know doesn't work. Iyanla knows better. Melanated vessel, you nailed it. And I'll tell you why you did. Remember when Vanzant tried to help out that young lady who won the Powerball winner, and only to try to repair that messed up dude who anybody else would say is a lost cause. She should have told that young lady, run for the hills. But she tried to help that dude out. He literally consumed that young lady up. He could, and Iyanla Vanzant, being what I would call a super mammy, made it happen. She should have been telling that young lady, look, he's gone. He is gone. There is nothing there for you. You need to move on. That's the only thing that should have came out of Iyanla's mouth. The only thing. What came out? Oh, you can bring yourself up. Give him another chance. Give him another chance number 500, 655,000. He'll only spend more millions of your money after bailing him out. That's the only thing. And Vanzant is doing the same thing. Doing the exact same thing. Going to get, I wonder, I'm scared that, you know something, I am scared. I don't want to know what happened to her. Trying to fix a hardened criminal is a very long road. And Vanzant did that. That's a number, that'll get you a number one Mammie spot, because you're literally taking somebody who has been designed to destroy communities and trying to fix them, and allowing them to continue to expose somebody who's trying to be good, as in the young lady, to this type of damage. I'm going to play this one more time, makes it be good.
All right, family, we have reached the end of the show, but before I let you go, I want to respond to my friend and colleague, Ebony K. Williams, who last week on her show said that she would not date a bus driver. She would date a guy if he owned the bus, but not if he was a bus driver. Here's my thoughts. First, we shouldn't be defining people by their labor, but there is dignity in all labor. Whether you drive a bus, whether you own the bus, whether you're the CEO, whether you're a worker, it doesn't matter. You're a human being with character and personality and ideas and interests. And that should be the primary thing that we ask when we're looking for relationships. Is this person good for me? So to me, that's more interesting. And if we only look for people who make the same amount of money, we're going to have some problems. At the same time, I feel you, Ebony. I understand completely.
I disagree. If you're looking at, he just said, if we're looking for people who are making the same amount of money. That's not a whole lot. It's not, it's not like, that's what you do. That's what every other culture, it's funny to me. It's funny how these fools be cherry picking. First they say, date down, because you like this gentleman is saying right here, in a way, date down, whatever you want to call it. But everybody else doesn't date down. And then the second thing is this. Then they say, well, the people of no color have less merit, have less divorces, or whatever you want to call it. They probably don't, but people of no this and that. And these red pill dudes be taking all this information about other races don't do that. Other races don't do that. But other races don't date down. The women don't date down in those other cultures. They don't. So, of course, you're going to bring up one example here and there, but for the most part, they don't. But you want black women to do that. See, that's the funny thing. You can't, yeah, I mean, black women ain't asking for a whole lot. All you got to do is just at least do what they doing. And if you're a man and you're supposed to be superior, right? That should be a piece of cake. That should be a piece of cake.
Completely why Ebony feels that way, because black women are the only demographic of people in this country who are systematically expected to date below their education and their income. And so when a lot of you are mad at Ebony for responding, it's not because you have some grand character. It's because y'all think black women should have a lower bar. It's because y'all think that black women should just accept whatever they get and they should just be happy to have anything. And that speaks to how we understand and how we think of black women in this country. And finally, brothers, with some of our outrage, we got to be honest too. You know, some of y'all get degrees and y'all get fancy titles and y'all get a whole lot of money. And you not only don't date at your economic educational station, a lot of y'all don't even date black women. So you got to hold that L too. All right, family, you can watch more content just like this on thegrio.com. You can also.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link because I mean, I need some opinions and junk, you know. I want a woman's perspective on this side as well. You know, I can't tell other people what to think and anything, but you know, I'm going to load up. Here we go.
It's external.
Let's go back. Here we go.
Iyanla, Vanzant, we are so blessed to have you here with us today on The Griot. I want to start, dear, with something that we share. Which is that we are both attorneys by trade. You are a lawyer, you have a legal background. And as women in the law, Iyanla, do you believe that that lens, that legal lens, informs our perspective and the way we show up in the world as women?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I got out. Yeah, very masculine, very intellectual. Almost stripped and robbed of humanity. It really shows the dichotomy between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. For me, very masculine, very
informs our perspective and the way we show up in the world as women.
Oh, absolutely.
Wait
And that's why.
Let me go back a little bit more. Let me go one more time. I need to hear
Iyanla, Vanzant, we are so blessed to have you here with us today on The Griot. I want to start, dear, with something that we share, which is that we are both attorneys by trade. You are a lawyer, you have a legal background. And as women in the law, Iyanla.
Welcome to the stage, Rico. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, sir. How about yourself?
Just chilling. Now they're saying being an attorney is masculine. Let's listen to this for a second.
Do you believe that that lens, that legal lens, informs our perspective and the way we show up in the world as women?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I got out. Yeah, very masculine, very intellectual, almost stripped and robbed of humanity. It really shows the dichotomy between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. For me, it just didn't feed my soul. And so I had to get out.
I feel that. And I do.
Oh, just to note this, she went from being an attorney to a life coach, I assume.
Feel that I might have heard on a date or two, Iyanla, that we are not in a courtroom, Ebony. You can put the gavel down. And I do feel it can spill over into the way I show up in my womanhood, which is really the center of this conversation today, Iyanla. We want to discuss masculine energy, feminine energy. I do want to start with kind of a
lady says this. She is calling women masculine, and she sounds like a man. Boom. I went to chat room after chat room, and I was kind of like confused. Like, does anybody see what I see? And thank God a lady sees it too. This woman sounds. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are women with deeper voices, but for her to call other people masculine or to be masculine or to sound masculine when she herself sounds masculine, as in the pot calling the kettle black, okay, is weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's like, She should understand. And this is the weird thing about this red pill. And she's red pill. She's red pill. Vanzant is red pill. Let's just get that out of the way. This red pill thinking is built on hypocrisy. She is literally critiquing a woman's femininity, and she is far from the perfect example of femininity. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense, but it makes sense if you just say she's red pill. Yeah, Tiff says educated equals masculine. Yeah. This is crazy. I mean, see, when I came up with the Mammie, the Manosphere series, the important thing that I needed to state is that I'm not trying to beat up on women, but it's important for me to give my male perspective on women that are designed to damage women. And there's nothing else a mammy really has to offer you. She's the one who's going to tell you to go back to your abusive relationship. She's the one who's going to tell you to date down, like Iyanla is here. She's the one who's going to say that that you shouldn't worry about a man cheating on you. This is the type. That's mammy features for you. Those are Mammie's features. Melanated Vessel says this. Why would me, a middle-aged Black woman, tell younger Black women to date down when we've had the opportunity to see exactly how this has played out for so many Black women? Melanated, you're dropping gems. That is exactly that. She knows herself how it looks, but she still wants to throw Black women to the wolves. Welcome to this stage, Gemini. Welcome to the stage, Heathen Queen.
Hey.
Heathen, what are your thoughts right now?
I hate the fact that we were put in the position to be the strength and the person that supports the household. I hate the fact that we got put in that position and now we're considered masculine because it's not so easy for us to be this submissive, this whole red pill atmosphere that they want us women to be. I hate that they put us in the position to be the leaders of the community because they fell down on us. And now we're masculine because we're just doing what we were trained to do, to stand up. I hate that whole thing. Nothing about a female is masculine because she has a certain job, because she presents a certain way. We're all feminine. We're females, period. We present as females. We just happen to be one of the races that we know how to speak up for ourselves. That doesn't mean we're masculine. And it's amazing that the white women, they do the same thing. It's just they don't outwardly say it, but they're not considered masculine, even though they will go after money just as quick as any other female will go after money.
Well said. Let me say this. Jenny B says this. So you Black men are telling other Black men don't date or marry Black women because of their education and career. Yep, that's what Kevin Samuels did. While Mammie Vanzant telling Black women date a bus driver even though you're a lawyer.
Really?
Boom.
Yes.
In the house, we have the Urbanista and Siobhan. Gemini, I just wanted to go back to you to see if you had any thoughts on the subject.
I'll wait. Go ahead and acknowledge everyone else.
Okay, Urbanista, what are your thoughts?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and I guess evening for some of us, depending on what coast you're on. One thing that I did want to say about Miss Vanzant, she's a very successful woman, and I think it's very ironic She may not be practicing law. However, this is someone who has a big platform and a big stage, and she's in the same position, quite frankly. So it's interesting that she thinks in her advice that she's been able to capitalize on, right? That she is in her feminine energy, but when she was an attorney, she was not in her feminine energy, right? Because she's really in the same financial space. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Even more so. So I think it's very hypocritical of her because, yeah, she can say that someone should be with a bus driver because it really doesn't matter because she's getting all her needs met.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't bother her either way.
Yeah, so I think we need to be careful about listening to certain people because we also have to analyze where they are in life, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Siobhan, what are you thinking about?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm
Siobhan.
hi. How's everyone doing? My thing, I'm kind of thinking. Well, I'm wondering. I'm pondering on the word fear, and I think that a lot of the so-called elders are more in fear because they lived a different life and they don't know how to correlate. So I think they're holding on to a certain delusion of the past because they somehow can't connect uh that type of life to the current state, let alone the future. And what I mean by that is the issue that's at hand, and that's dating and relationships. They came from a different time where you were already established at this woman's age. She said she would I think she said, Ebony said she'll be 40 come September. So this is like a new dawn going on, and as we're going through the cusp of this, it's actually a separation that's taking place. And that's why I think everybody needs to be careful getting caught up in these generational terms because they're creating gangs. But that's just my own personal opinion. And people are trying to figure out where they fit in, old and young. Where do you begin and end based off of the past, what it looks like in the present, and what the future will hold, if that makes sense?
Well said. Um, Dusty Flair says, men not saying don't marry an educated woman. Men say that it's not the top of the list. Actually, I guess if you're saying black men, maybe not, because really, quite honestly, Kevin Samuels had more of a female slavery vibe going on, where he wanted women. He was more focused on women doing things for him and him only instead of sharing a relationship. However, believe it or not, what's funny to me is that all these black men, they use the example of other cultures to say how they want to be treated. And they say that all the other, women of no color cook and clean, and Latin women cook and clean, Asian women cook and clean and everything. But what's funny is that me knowing a lot more probably than the majority of the men in the manosphere about how other cultures work. Well, first of all, you're dead wrong because believe it or not, education is literally on the top of their list for their spouse, especially if it's a man who would be deemed high value. Because when they bring this woman to their social meetings or greetings or where they're, $1,000 dinners per plate, they want to show off their educated wife. You don't have to tell me whether it's right or wrong for them to think this way. I'm just telling you, this is the way they think. They will take an average-looking, educated woman over some woman who's hot as hell who works at Hooters.
Yep, they're also thinking about socioeconomic connections. They're thinking about making sure their children are educated. So if you have someone who is educated like you and has similar values, then you're going to transfer that on to your children as well too. And that's something that's a problem in our community because we're not thinking about values. We're not thinking about anything other than skin color and what someone looks like.
Hmm. I want to read Jenny B's comment, and then I'll go back to Dusty Flair. She said, Dusty Flair, it's usually dusty black males that barely have a GED and work at Amazon warehouse telling black women their education, career, etc. don't matter. And this is true. And the reason why he said it's not on the top of their list, the reason it's not on the top of their list is because they don't have it themselves.
Right.
And it's amazing to me. I think part of what you were saying, Siobhan, I agree. And part of the trouble with Vanzant is that she's probably been told she was masculine her whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she's internalized a lot of that. And then part of it is this woman is younger, she's beautiful, she's probably still fertile, and she's in a different time in a different world, and she has access to different people more so than what Vanzant had. So I think there's a dynamic. To me, what I'm seeing is a touch of envy and jealousy.
Right. It's, you know what, it's mixed in there, but see, 100 years ago, a girl's biggest headache was what her wedding dress was going to look like. Now, this is a whole new world and a whole new dynamic between, where will I live? How will my life look? Will I have children? What is my career path? These are all of the things that now women are currently thinking of. And that's why I said earlier that it's hard for the older generation to separate themselves from that, because they themselves have been brainwashed and they've seen their mothers and their grandmothers. This is all that they know. So even Iyanla, who has come up in the midst of this, and like you said, Jim, and I agree. You already know that women were told that, the same way that they're being told that now. So it was even worse because it was less numbers at that time in terms of women who were becoming lawyers like her. So we've always, and particularly in this community, we've always been looked down on. And then you have guys like this guy in the chat who's proving the point right there with making that comment as if education means nothing. And now that the numbers are filling up the way that they are, we're just on a new pathway irregardless. And now it's like, where do we go from here? But yet we can't look back because we're looking back at our elders like Iyanla, who hasn't been there, yet we're looking at the future and we can't see anything because the future hasn't even happened yet. So it's like, where do we begin and where do we end, and where do we define ourselves and where we're going to be as women moving forward? Because guess what? Nobody's looking back.
Yeah, it's just, to me, is we can't take it backwards. Like, we can't reverse the wheel, because the reason why women, even such as Iyanla, I can't say her name, became who she became, is for part of it was for survival, and the other part was to disprove what was always told to us, is that we're not as intelligent as them. We can't function in their society, and we'll never make it beyond the point that they've made it. So a lot of it was drive and determination to do better on our own part. It was what we wanted to be able to achieve, not to show, not as a form of getting one up on the black man, but to show that we can do this. You see what I'm saying? We are very capable of doing this. And not only have we shown that, we've shown it by the fact that we know it takes two of them to set the bar. They have to climb on each other's shoulders to set the bar, and we high jump it. And they keep setting it higher, because you remember there was a time where bachelor's degrees was the thing to have. Right. And then they devalued that and made it where you have to have a master's degree.
Right.
And we achieved that. And we keep driving the forces higher and higher because of our capability. And it has nothing to do with wanting to leave black men behind.
That's true.
Right. Let me read this message real quick. LM says, I don't think you should take all the elders' advices at heart when they need you to update their phone. And that's so true. And I'm going to make this quick comment and then pass the mic. I cannot tell my daughter how to handle the dating field, because it's changed so much. I can say, but he's garbage and he's not. I can look through a man's soul and see who he is. So if she brings him to me, but I cannot, the dynamics are totally different. So for me to give out advice to a woman on how to date, look for in men, it's going to be a little bit dated. I'm really simple, if you know what I mean. I'm really simple as far as it comes to, okay, he was late 3 times to this, and this. He's a no.
Right.
You know, I don't care if he makes you laugh. There's something wrong with his clock. It's gonna cost you something later down the line.
Right.
But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Passing the mic. Who wants
Hey,
to-
DJ, I just looked up Iyanla Vanzant's ex-husband. So it looks like she was married to her ex-husband twice. And there was some abuse with her ex-husband, apparently.
What
But
do
she
you
did
know
a
what
whole
year?
show on Oprah. This was in the 70s.
And
70s
they
or
got
80s when she was
so,
married. 70s, 80s when she was married to him.
Oh, okay.
so there
Mhm.
she divorced him when, or they've been divorced since when? What year?
I'm not sure what year, but I'm looking at a picture now that says 1979 with them together.
Mm.
So maybe we need to look her up and see what
Yeah,
the
she
deal
must have been
was.
she must have been done with him by the 90s, because that's when she started to merge on Oprah and told her whole story. So
Let me get some quick shout outs out of the way real quick. In the house, we have A Lady, Gemini, Hopeful EC, Jenny B, King Lucifer, Miss RV, All Things Nata Jean, Scott Haywood. And I thought I saw some more. Dusty Flair's here. Tiff is here. Madison Goldman. Okay. I think that's everybody.
Right.
It Are you
and you
done?
know, oh, okay. I'm sorry.
She was married to Adeyemi Bandale from 97 to 2007.
Mm.
Okay, so she had got married again after she hit on Oprah.
He was a lecturer and a businessman.
And
Mm.
she divorced
Yeah.
him too?
He's best known for American inspirational speaker, lawyer, author, life. Wait, who is best known as? Oh, he's best known as her former husband. So he's not best known for himself. He's best known as her former husband.
But
So
of course,
she can't pick either, huh? Is she trying to tell us how to pick, but she can't pick either?
I mean, that's the weird thing of it all. It's like she sees what's out there,
Right.
but she wants everybody to follow her over the cliff.
but you know what that is too, though? You know, I was pondering upon that and thinking about how I think that a lot of these people are so wrapped up in their delusions, because I think that they don't want to admit that all of the things that they thought they were going to promise and pass to their children aren't, it was all a lie. And I think that that's the biggest problem, and that's just the bulk of elders, because they were promised that all you had to do was work hard and you would live a good life.
Right.
And now they're seeing that that's not necessarily the case. And I think that they just don't want to come off of it, because denial is very hard. We all know it's hard to admit that there's a problem. And I think that they're holding on to a hope, because it makes it seem like their lives wasn't worth anything, because they themselves would have to admit that they were lied to as well.
Right.
Agreed.
Melanated vessel drops another gem. You know it's total crap because it's not a world view in regards to dating. This settle for anything nonsense is only spewed out to Black women. It's worse when it's one of us spewing it. SMH. Yep.
Absolutely. And it's because Iyanla doesn't have, like, women are traveling now. They're, on boats, on yachts. There was no photos to show this type of life, like you had to have a man, even as far as early back in the day, 50, 60 years ago, a woman couldn't even go anywhere without the company of a man. So you had to have a handler. So this is a whole different type of freedom that, once again, these women, they can't seem to put it together. They see it, but they haven't lived it. So it's a tug of war, it's a battle, because it's like, wow, it's almost as if it doesn't exist to them, even though they're seeing it in real time.
Exactly. Oh, I forgot to say, Scott Haywood is in the house. Scott, if you'd like to come up, I'm going to drop the link. He has a daughter as well. I'd like to get his observation on this as well. For me, let me make it clear. If I was a bus driver, I'm not expecting a lawyer to just to jump at me. You see what I'm saying? I'm just not. Okay. So it just seems very strange that this is even coming up at all. Because
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was in the chat. I don't remember if it was Hopeful EC or Madison, but one of them said, how would she even encounter a bus driver? Like this is a thing that they don't think about, is that you move in different socioeconomic circles, meaning that you move in different spheres with different people in different careers.
Right.
Right.
So unless she's like unless she's using transit in the big city, that there would be no reason for her to even come in contact with a bus driver, unless it's like
New
at
York.
church or something like that. So that was something that I thought was relevant. It's like, yeah, how would she even come in contact with the bus driver?
And Jim, and I think that's a great point, because I think when I hear a lot of these comments from these people, you're absolutely right. How are you coming in contact? If you are a part of a certain socioeconomic background, you're normally interacting with people on that level, people at work, right? People at church, whatever, right? Your social groups. How are you coming in contact with all of these different people? That's a great question. And that's something that I think oftentimes a lot of men do not think about when they have opinions on this. Is a lot of these women do not even come in contact with guys on this level.
Yeah, but you know what, you guys, I thought about this a whole different way. And can I present my argument?
absolutely.
Of course.
Notice how, because this is how I took it. And this is number one, let me just go on record by saying I really wish Black women would stop answering these questions in general. And not only to people like Iyanla, but stop answering these type of questions to men as well on dates. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because we have to look at what was said. And most people didn't dive in. They took the bus driver and they ran with it.
Right.
When she was asked, would you date a bus driver, right? She then turned around and she said, does he own the bus? So I took it as mindset. I didn't look at the bus driver. I looked at the mindset, because the woman she's getting ready to go on 40. So she's going to be dating, hypothetically, a guy within that age bracket. Let's just say 35 to 45 to be easy.
Mhm.
So I was thinking more of, okay, what is the mindset of that guy? So when she came back and said, does he own the bus? I took it as a mindset situation, not as the bus driver.
So
And
did
that's
I.
Yes.
So did
yeah.
I.
So
Yeah, I did too.
that's the reason why I don't like these questions being answered, because obviously it was a small segment. It wasn't intimate. It was, touch and go, because everybody is going to take the context word of bus driver and run with it. But I, as a deep diver, you got to go in deeper and ask, well, what does she mean by that? And it's because we're so busy being shackled within this community that we're supposed to accept different forms of struggle, that what she was talking about essentially is, what is the mindset of a guy who's just driving the bus? Has he been driving it for 10 years and he's just complacent? Or is he talking about owning a company, getting a fleet? So the conversation could have went a multitude of different ways, but typical in this community, we take the bus driver term and everybody literally drove off with it.
Right.
In a man's perspective, real quick, I've never heard one of my buddies back in the day, and that's way back, bragging about dating a woman who was a bus driver. But now they want women to accept a bus driver. Let that sink in.
I think the comment that you made around mindset is a good point too, because that's another part about being equally yoked with someone. You have to be on the same page from a mindset standpoint as
Mm-hmm.
well. That is more important, in my opinion, than the educational aspect, because what I think Siobhan is alluding to, and I think what Ebony was alluding to, is the fact that if she's a boss and she has a lot of businesses, right, and she has a lot of business intelligence, she needs to be with a man who has similar drive and business intelligence as well, too.
Because and you know what, to add to that, that's the one of the largest problem amongst our demographic is fiscal responsibility. So you do want someone with the same fiscal idea that you have. And if you get with someone who's not as fiscally apt as you are, then you're liable to lose. And again, the data shows that Black women are the only demographic of women who don't improve in their socioeconomic status when they marry their counterpart.
Right.
So it's important that they make smart moves.
Right.
And equally yoked, people don't even understand the depth of being equally yoked. I mean, it's so many dynamics that go into that. And I think a lot of people think superficially as it pertains to equally yoked, but it spans so into so many different categories when we're talking about being equally yoked.
Yeah. I think it's a shame that you get shamed for having those kind of standards. I mean, I look at me, and it's a quick story. You know, I'm a certain age. I'm about 20 years younger than Iyanla. I can't say her name for nothing. I'm almost 20 years younger than her, right? I won't date a bus driver. I won't date those kind of, nothing wrong with those people. But I have my own business, my own house, my own car, my own. I cannot see and educated. I cannot see myself being on the same level or being equally yoked with someone who doesn't have the things that I have, right? And then I would be unhappy because I wouldn't be able to have a conversation on a certain level with certain people. Why would I put myself in a position to say I would date a bus driver when I know that I would be unhappy with someone who's not equally yoked for what I have? It's just a matter of wanting the same thing that we have, but in our male counterpart. But we always have to look down because it always seems as though the air gets thinner as you get to a certain level. And it's like, why are you mad at me because I have standards for wanting a man the same level that I'm on, right? And I took it as a mindset. Look, I can't date somebody that's 30. We have totally different viewpoints of the world. Someone that's younger than me, or this, that, or doesn't make as much money as me. We have totally different viewpoints of the world, of how things should be, how things should run. There's no way that I would be on the same bus as her. I mean, I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
All right. Chief Goddess says a bus driver will resent Ebony for having more ambition than him. She nailed it. That's true.
I mean, whatever he's doing, he's going to resent it if he's not doing anything and he has no plans to expand further. That's just the thing. That's why I said the bus driver part is where everybody, put legs on it, but no one dived deeper into the context of it. And I'm talking about from Ebony's perspective and how she answered it, not so much Iyanla's intent, but from Ebony's answer. That's why I came back and said her first, when she came back with her answer, she specifically said, does he own the bus? So that told me right there that she was thinking mindset. She didn't just flat out say no. Right. She came back and said, does he own the bus? So that means that could have been a consideration based upon if that question could have been answered more so on the yes. You know what I mean? Because that means that he's going to expand and build upon that. And then at that point in 10, 15 years, as we're building further, he has something to build from. Because you hear these guys, we all hear the talking points in the manosphere, red pill spaces. They use the same 3 words in rotation: build, protect, provide, but they can't expound on what any of that means. The only thing we can build off of, especially after a certain age, is you would already have to have something to expand upon. We're not building like we're 18-year-olds at 40.
Right. Right.
I'm going to play a little bit more of this. Let's see what we got.
News framing, which is that women's rights across the country, especially Black women's rights, they're under attack.
Who's in the house, by the way?
Lots of laws are banning abortions. They are regulating what we can and cannot do with our bodies. What do you think happens for Black women when this type of siege is at play and we don't feel we have anyone to protect us?
Right. Well, the first thing I think we do is we go into anger. We go into anger without a clear ask. Doesn't make sense to be angry unless you've got to ask. What is it that you're asking for? People can say anything in the world, but that doesn't mean that they get a right to do it. It doesn't mean that they get a right to affect you. But because so many of us are programmed and conditioned and educated to think like men, we respond like men. And when I mean men, I don't mean two-legged beasts. I mean in the masculine energy, and it becomes.
Is anybody following what she means? It doesn't sound like she's answering the question at all.
I promise you, I drifted off. I literally did. Promise you, I did.
I think she just wants to focus on this femininity word and masculine word, and she didn't even answer her question.
Right. Yeah, Iyanla been binge watching Red Pill. I can tell she must have been on a marathon the night before, and she just had to put the words in rotation.
and let's make this point clear. It's not as if Black men are out here marrying by and large. They're running through anything and everything they can. So
right.
this dangling, like Siobhan would say, the dangling carrot of a marriage is it's a faux hope. Like they're dangling it as if it's something that's attainable, when we know that most of these men aren't marrying. Like right. The marriage rate is what, 32%, 31%?
Mm-hmm. And has been that way. That number has coasted for decades in this community.
Right.
So
it's like you give us all these standards to live by, and you still don't want to get married. So why would I change? You're not going to marry me either way.
Yes. Like you please dance on one leg. I need you to hula hoop on one leg and I need the hula hoop to be on fire, and I need you butt naked and cooking at the same time. I need your hair to look good. I need your body to look good, and don't get burnt by the hula hoop of fire.
Right.
All right. Quick shout out to Quita Ward in the house. Shout out to Rika Regaming, Venus Scorpios in the house, A-Ladies in the house. Hopeful EC's in the house. Woo Said It is in the house. The Urbanista is in the house. LM is in the house. Let me play this clip real quick because this is related, and it looks like to me, I think Iyanla's gonna bore us, but this is a married man right here. Let me just prop that by there, and I don't want to ruin the story. Here we go.
I'm back with another triggering topic. Please watch this, and I'll be back.
What's the longest relationship you ever been in?
With my wife.
So what made you decide she was the one?
Once I moved to LA and saw how phony that was out there, I went on. I was like, I might well settle for this.
That's why.
Oh, so he thinks Nikki's attractive. Okay.
I think she's attractive. I think she's attractive, but that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like girls like that, I don't have the bargaining chips to have my way. Like girls who aren't in poverty, I don't like that. These girls who can take care of themselves, they tell me, "Oh, forget you." But
so you want a girl that can rely on you a little bit, that needs you a little bit.
None of that matters. He's married.
It don't matter. I'm the most eligible husband in New York this week. Me and my wife have an understanding, okay?
Oh, yeah?
All right, I'm going to keep this
so
low.
She could do her and you could do you.
No, she can't do her. She's the woman.
Oh,
Women can't do what they want to do.
So wait, what's this understanding?
Now, I have always been absolutely.
Take a deep breath. This guy is super popular in Red Pill. Not this guy. This guy. That's what these men want. They want to be able to be married and then still have sex with other women. And you're supposed to like it. No, they demand you and you're fine with it. That's where we're at. This is where, so This is funny. You heard what he said, though. You heard what he said. The important part was what I see is this is even if you date down, you're dating down into a dude like this. Just because he's got money now and because he was a comedian or whatever, he still has a bus driver's mentality. That given the opportunity, he's going to have sex with another woman. He's not going to appreciate that, wow, you know, this woman came down here. She dated down for me. She gave me a chance. So I'm gonna do her one solid and be the best husband I can be. He's not even thinking like that. He's thinking of her as a resource. That's this particular bus driver's mentality. See, it's not like Siobhan said, it's not about really the job. It's the mentality. See, the thing is this is when you get, let's say you are a lawyer like Ebony is, right? When another lawyer or another man in that spectrum gets, it's like he is going to appreciate her more, okay, than a man who is not on the same yoke, equal level, whatever you want to call it, bus driver theory. It's a mismatch. His wife married a mismatch. He's basically, she had to settle for open marriage. I'm sorry, but there's just not too many women who are really thrilled about that. They do it because they have to.
If she knows she's in an open marriage, but she may not know.
Yeah, I agree. She may not. She may not. She might be he knows that she's not going to see this video. And she's fine with, she's not going to know, but I think she knows.
He sounds like a passport, bro.
Yes, he does.
Right.
I'm sorry. What are they calling themselves now? They rebranded.
Oh yeah, the Blue Book Boys
or the
Blue Book Boys.
It's something.
Blue Book Gentlemen. Yeah, I heard a couple of names. Blue Book Gentlemen. Something. I heard a couple of little different subsectors.
I mean, let's listen to more of his garbage. Let's listen to more of it. Here we go.
Trying to build up the Black community at his age? Community? No.
Wait, let me play
other demographic of misguided manosphere morons. Now, is he trying to build up the Black community at his age and advise Black men on how to treat Black women or how they can maintain long-lasting marriages and relationships with women? Is he being a good elder in our community? No. He's saying things like this, all the while being married himself, mind you.
You shouldn't be getting married no more. That's dumb. Dumb.
I always felt it was dumb.
Most of the women are going to rob you and take everything you had. And the reason that you're scared to not get married is because you don't want her to go. And I'm here to tell you, homie, if you're scared for her to go to the point where you...
So he's telling Black men this.
Mm-hmm.
So
it doesn't even make sense because they're already doing what he said. Right. And then he's saying, take all of what you have. Like, what do they have?
What do they have?
Taking? Right. I'm so confused by that. They keep this mantra going. Even KS was keeping this mantra going when we watched his freaking. We looked. You showed it 100 times. His divorce decree. Dude, you didn't have anything. I'm grateful she didn't have to pay the dude alimony how much little he had.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, they don't even have health insurance.
That part.
Right.
I don't know what they're talking about.
I mean, it's weird. Okay, so quite honestly, it's like this. This is if red pill men wanted to get mad at me, they should get mad at me for playing this video. and showing it to women. And I'll tell you why. Because, see, Black men, what value do you have if you're not going to be, if you're respecting, number one, men like this, and you're not wanting to marry? Black women still want to get married. If you can't offer marriage, then fuck you.
Well, and then it's the quality of marriage, because you can't just be dangling your broke marriage in front of someone that you can't even afford to buy her a ring or place her in a home. See, they want to dangle dustiness and poverty, but what they want to do is they want to marry women who aren't impoverished to improve their station in life. And once their station in life is improved by her, then they leave her to go be with the baddie that they wanted. And so the cycle continues of women being abused financially, emotionally, and socially. So women aren't signing up for this. They don't even have life insurance, hopeful EC.
Okay, let me play a little bit more.
Will marry her, you needed to be destroyed. So you can be built back up into something that is worth something.
Come on now.
Now you worth something.
Why didn't he build himself up in the first place?
Because women they always depend on Black women. It's the labor off of Black women's back. It's always the labor off of Black women's back. Let me point this out, Chicago Rilla. You guys love to say who's not in the red pill or who's not in the manosphere. If these men's mindset is there, they're classified as such.
Yeah, he's red pill. I mean, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that these celebrities, they're hired and paid entertainers, so they have to keep their ear to the streets. All of these people, that's why I just said Iyanla was watching red pill content. Whatever's popular, these people have to play into the game. So no, he's not exempt from this. He's very much red pill manosphere. He's very much a part of this because he's a part of the ebb and flow. And that's the reason why he's able to be on the internet, because if he wasn't talking that talk, then he wouldn't be able to have the viewers and the subscribers.
You see a bitch ain't shit, and it ain't just Corey talking crazy. Now that you see that a funky bitch is the worst thing God put on this earth, now you a better man after you got destroyed. Wait, most of the time when you get married, you be like, hey man, this bitch ain't right. That's why I ain't married her anyway. That's why she trying to force me to marry her. She want to validate herself by imposing herself on you by saying, if you don't marry me, I'ma leave. The best thing you could.
I think it's safe to say that Corey Holcomb is not exactly a high value man as it pertains to women. I don't know if he has money or not from his comedy career, because being a comedian, unless you're like really up there, you don't really make a whole lot. But what I do know is that he hasn't, even if he had money, he has nothing really to offer anyone, because when the bottom line, when it comes down to when the rubber hits the road, it's all about how you really how you are treated by someone. And this man obviously is bragging about not having the ability to treat a woman good. He can care less. He'd refer to you as a bitch. So
yeah, I was going to agree with you, DJ. You hit the nail on the head, and that's what women need to be evaluating. These guys are not good guys. They're just not. He's a terrible person. He's not marriage material because he's a terrible person. It has nothing to do with what he can provide. It's the fact that he's a terrible person. He is not marriage material, period.
Exactly, the Urbanista. They honestly believe that money, getting their money up will make them more eligible for a woman that wants to be married. But a woman that truly wants to be married and taken care of is not choosing someone simply because they have money. They want the character. They want those things as well. The money is for security so that you can take care of the family that you have. Right. But what's more important on top of having that money is having the character to guide and lead. Money doesn't make you a leader.
And can we point out too how black comedians have not grown up either? where there's a stagnation there, like in the with the rap music, where they play too much, like it promotes playing too much. He's a grown man. You know, we have to confront that as well, because it
Right.
rubs off. And that's why it's all, well, I'm just playing. Notice how grown men will say they're playing. Oh, well, he's not really serious. He's playing. It's a play too much demon that runs deep within.
And it's always at our expense.
Yeah. You know,
I had to break
never
this
see-
out, and I know it's off topic, but doesn't he look like he's dressed like Fat Albert?
yeah. Well, you know, they stay dressing throwback style. These guys won't move ahead. They stay dated.
Dude, if you in that situation, is let her leave. Get the fuck away from any bitch that try to force you to marry her. Because that's a wicked bitch. That ain't even a woman place to be trying to make you marry her.
He's trying to be serious right now. Listen to how, I mean, it's like, and men are listening to him.
I can't.
That's the funny part.
And I cannot stand a man who continues to call a woman the B and the C and the
Right.
Right.
I just lose all respect for a man when I hear him talking like that. It's just like, we have names and you should respect our names, and you shouldn't be calling, I don't care what the woman is or who she is, you shouldn't be calling her a 304 or a hoe or any of those things. If you call yourself a man, you should not be doing that. No.
Yet they expect to be treated, the same guy who's spewing all this crap out
Now,
expects to be
but
respected.
if we went over to their site and we called them all kinds of names, they'd be ready to fight.
Right.
You know, they'd be ready to fight.
And it's
if I
not
went
even
over and
jokes
called
anymore.
everybody. Huh?
And it's not even jokes anymore. It's not even comedy. That's what I'm saying. Now you just say a bunch of B words and you just do a lot of cussing, and now it's supposed to be funny.
Right.
Right.
And the only people laughing are men like him.
Right. That is, it's not attractive at all. I don't understand why they keep doing that. Mm-mm.
This is funny because this is the type of man that Iyanla defends right here. Let's go back up to Iyanla and let's mix it up a little bit. Let's see what we got here.
Why are you doing that? Let me read Madison Goldman's comment. They have limited vocabulary because they don't read and they just drop out of school.
That's true.
Yep.
You can say anything in the world, but that doesn't mean that they get a right to do it. It doesn't mean that they get a right to affect you. But because so many of us are programmed and conditioned and educated to think like men, we respond like men. And when I mean men, I don't mean two-legged beasts. I mean in the masculine energy, and it becomes competitive, it becomes aggressive, it becomes againstness. And that's not who we are as women. It just isn't. And I think for Black women, particularly for us, the way that we've been programmed and conditioned and educated in the society to expect less, to accept less, to be angry and to complain, but to not really step into our authentic self, our authentic power as women, and create what we want, even if that's create the demand. Oh no, not here, not today.
Like, did she just contradict herself within the whole frame of what she just said?
Yes, she
Yeah,
did.
she did. She did.
I was
Come on,
with her until she
Urbanisa.
turned it around.
Come on, Urbanisa. Tell, please.
No, I agree. She literally just contradicted herself. Literally. And that's the problem. You know, I'm tired of people going down, you know, these circles, right? So they say one thing, oh, you should accept this, but then, oh no, you should create your own destiny. Well, pick one.
Right.
Yeah, I'm over it.
And then what is she talking about? Like, you know, I want somebody to explain to me the argument about walking around in masculinity, because last I checked,
Don't
unless
understand that.
I mean, I don't understand that when most of us, I'm pretty sure we're all living in some type of city arrangement. You know, it's all these people walking around. So I'm just wondering, like, how much of a fool are you supposed to walk around and be to be in this feminine container when we're in a whole masculine society right now with the way the economy is looking, all of this crime going on, and she wants us running around like old daughters of the South? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
You know, it's confusing me.
And let's be real, I've seen in movies where the daughters of the South had daggers underneath those dresses. Let's stop.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that point in history. Yeah, you absolutely.
Don't play.
It ain't never been safe. That's the whole moral of the story, right? It ain't never been safe like that. So I don't know what type of storyline that Iyanla is caught up in when we in the economy we in right now, and everybody is, you can feel the temperature no matter what may be going on, in your life personally. You can feel the temperature of others. So it's just like, what is she talking about? Like, we out here having to survive and make it. So why are you sitting here trying to make Black women feel guilty for having to get on their feet? Like, it makes no sense when you yourself are a Black woman. That's why this is weird.
The Heathen Queen, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say I didn't understand. She understands how hard it was for women like us. She understands how hard it was. And she didn't have a perfect marriage once or twice. So she apparently got some of the same Black men, but yet and still she wants us to settle for something less than what we are. And I don't understand why we have to, why she just can't be honest, or they just can't come out and be honest and say, this is what you're going to get. So it's because men have not stepped up, not because you're too masculine, not because you're too this, that, and a third. It has to do with them not stepping up. And I don't understand why she doesn't do that. She always seems like she's reading from a script from me. So I just never could stand her. So I've only seen her in clips. I've never seen her show because I just couldn't stand the I hate to say that Mammie attitude, but I just could never stand that from her.
Well, you know why she's doing that, Heathen. Let me answer the question, if I may. Mm-hmm. She's doing exactly what they all do. She's doing what Umar ended up doing. They all end up coming back to the woman because they know for a fact that men aren't going to change.
Right.
And just what you just said is what I was thinking about. Let's not, what you said before, Siobhan, like a race of us, a bunch of us should have died out. But it was because Black women that a bunch of us didn't die out. Right. Black women have been carrying Black people for so long. Like, let's not pretend like Black women aren't the driving force. The reason there is still a semblance of some type of community, which, I don't even believe in. But it's Black women who are the driving forces. And it's Black women, because of their loyalty to the race, it's to the detriment of them. They are literally setting themselves on fire to keep people warm. Not literally, figuratively, but still. you know what I'm saying? It's just like that. We have to continuously become ashes, become phoenixes, become ashes again, and become phoenixes, just to keep something going, just to keep a semblance of Blackness going. And we are not thanked for it at all. In fact, we're resented for it. So it's to our detriment to keep doing so. This guy said in the chat, why should you date Black women when they're the bottom? I don't expect for anybody to answer my question, but I'm just wondering.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's interesting though. He said that, but he didn't think about the fact that Black men are at the bottom too. So why should a woman date Black men?
Right.
So it's just really interesting to me that there's just no retrospective when it comes to the condition and the state that Black men are in at all. Because I was listening to what you just said, Gemini, and what I thought about is the fact that they're actually canceling themselves out, period. So again, with the high crime rates, with the Black on male crime, with they're canceling their own selves out. They're canceling their own selves out. And no one ever even talks about that. We talk about police brutality, but we don't talk about how they are literally killing themselves, even with bad health. they're
Right.
killing themselves
Mhm.
every
Their-
day.
Their number one cause of death is one another.
Right.
Right.
And you know the weirdest part, this is what pisses me off when I think about it. White women are in the position they're in because their men stand shoulder to shoulder and don't take crap, and they run what they want to run. The women are in the position that they're in because of that. And we are, as Black women, are in the position that we are because our Black men did not stand up. That's what I have a hard time dealing with them with. That's why I cannot have a conversation with them on this level, because I'm not worried about whether you think I wear a weave or this, that, and the third. Why is it that you don't see the position that you're in correlates with the position that we are in society as women? We should be right up there with the white women. We should be right up there with the white women. Why aren't we?
Yeah, and it's funny because when we take matters into our own hands, which is what Gemini just said, there we get resented for that. So when we go out here and we get educations, we go out here and we go after these jobs, and we're trying to elevate our culture, then why are you doing that? You're out of place. You're in your masculine energy.
Not only that, we then become a corporate bed wenches.
Right.
And keeping the Black men out of positions that they didn't even qualify for in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, it's as if they think that if all Black women stop going to school and stop and get out of the workforce, that's going to make them qualified for the jobs that we leave. How? When you don't even have the education. How? When you don't even have the determination. How? When you don't even have the drive. See, the what's incredible to me is how many Black women sacrifice so much in the name of being in a marriage to stay in a marriage with a man when they're with a man. They go out, they get their education with this man who's being menial. They go out, they get their education, their drive, their determination brings the household up, but they're still resented for that from these men because they don't see the value of it. They don't see the value of it at all in society. They just want to be complacent, and they need us to be complacent right along with them so that they don't look bad as men. But what they don't understand, and what I keep saying, is it is imperative for us to separate our image. It's crucial because we can't be linked to a demographic of men who don't want more.
Right.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is when a lot of them even have the educations and can actually get these roles, right? They don't do what they need to do to sustain in those particular roles because they do not know how to get along in those environments, and they don't know how to be collaborative either. And that's the problem. You have to be collaborative as well too, and you have to work with others, and they don't know how to do that.
All right, let me read LM's comment. Black women are not Phoenix. We are volcano. Keep poking, and you go. You go find out.
He said, "Mess around and find out."
Ain't that the truth?
Okay, I hear you articulating, Iyanla, this masculine energy traits, the competitiveness, the assertiveness. Tell me how you would frame feminine traits. Aggressive. Okay.
Grace.
Aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive, not assertive. It's okay for a woman to be assertive. Grace, first of all. I think we've lost our grace.
Oh my God.
We move.
Like, I'm confused. Aggressiveness. So she's changing assertiveness to aggressiveness. You're okay to be assertive, but you're not okay to be aggressive. But you have to be aggressive to be assertive. Like, what is she saying? Am I confused?
Yeah, I'm confused too. Cause see, I'm thinking that Iyanla trying to have us on the dance floor like we had a grand ball or something like that with all of this grace and all of that. Like, what are we talking about over here?
Right.
You know,
When
like,
was Grace? I mean,
yeah,
I don't
when
remember
was
it.
Grace? Right. I that's what I was getting ready to ask, DJ. So it looked like you read my mind. Like I was getting ready to ask, when is the Black woman being in any position to have any type of form of grace? It was never even displayed for us even, you know, only in recent times, we barely had a couple of little moments in cinema where we've been able to be graceful. We're always created out to be some type of warrior or some type of downtrodden servant or something. It's always a sacrificial storyline. So what is she talking about?
All right, in the house, we have Creative Solutions in the house, Chief Goddess in the house, Money Muse in the house, Jenny B in the house, Tiff in the house, Hopeful EC.
Thank you, Urbanista, for gracing us with your presence.
Hello, Creative. How are you?
I'm good. How's everybody?
Hey, Creative.
We good. We good.
Well, I'm just here watching the show. I seen this clip earlier with, you know, what's her name? Iyanla.
Yeah, Iyanla Vanzant and
Yeah, Iyanla
Ebony.
Vanzant. I don't know, like I feel like she's projecting, and I feel like a lot of the older women, they know that they settled, they know that they didn't stand their grounds, and now they want to turn around and project their beliefs onto us. I don't see like why. We're in a whole different class, different generation. I don't think the same way you do, you know. I have more opportunities. My mind is very vast. I don't have to settle what you settled for.
All right, shout out. Quick
I'm
shout out
sorry.
just to Act Natural Under Pressure and Monica M in the house.
You know what I think it is, everybody? I think that it's not even about I don't even think it's about that more so creative. I think it's more so of we're taking their king away from them. That's what I think this is about.
You
I think
think
they're
so?
fighting us. Yes, they're fighting us for the king. That's what this is about. This is the fight over the king. Over the king that was put over the community, that was supposed to exalt all of the Black women. Remember, he was supposed to come like Jesus. And I think that that's what this is. This is like, yeah, that's no, for real. Just walk with me. I think that that's what this is. Like the whole Black love thing that was instituted. This is like the whole black male messiah. I think that we're taking their man from them. That's why they're fighting us tooth and nail. This ain't even about us. This about they king, and we snatching him off of the mantle, and they want him put back up.
I can see that, but let me tell me why I was on the live yesterday, and this lady was on the live talking about she was a single mother and she doesn't advocate for child support and putting these Black men through the ringer, and I was just like, what?
The grift is strong on here. I have to say
It
that.
is.
The grift is so strong. Like these women will say whatever it takes to get a dime in their pocket. And so you have to be mindful that a lot of these women are play acting because they know full well either there's one or two things, one of three things going on. They have support, but they still want more money. And the man that they're with is profiting from what they're saying. Or two, they don't have the support and they have a sorry deadbeat baby daddy, so they're not getting support, so they don't want anybody else getting support either.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, that's what this whole battle is about. That's why it's a to be or not to be type of thing, you know. So, and it's coming from all different sides of socioeconomical status, you know, all of that, because you know this is the first time where we're actually separating in terms of gender, separating even in terms of you know, once again, just our economical status. So it's a whole shakeup within the community, and typical of the crabs in the barrel mentality, people are going to start opening up them claws, snatching you back.
Exactly. Let me play a little bit more of this in the house. Jenny Michelle is in the house. She says this: I respect Iyanla for shining a light on the community with us needing therapy and etc. But I think she'll benefit from partnering with a younger therapist or whatever to convey a better message. I couldn't agree more. She's the only problem is that she's going to damage a lot of women, you know, finding her way. The problem that I find Iyanla having is that she hasn't addressed the men. She had her opportunity even talking to Ebony here, she had the opportunity to say, yes, men have a long way to go, blah, 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 which we do, right? She's not putting any onus of success on the men, on a successful relationship on the men, which is a huge problem for me.
I don't think she wants that kind of scandal. And then remember that these men are still protected. So that's kind of where, the remnants of the protesting and the privilege that we put, in the cloak of protection that Black women have put upon them, it's still there, even within the media. So that has to get broke down. But that might actually take a man. And as you can see, like none of these guys have. That's why they always circle back. Umar, even Jordan Peterson, all that crying he was doing for men in general, he started whining to women. So, they all come back to women because they feel like if they could get us to just come down a couple of steps and help, try to hold one of their hands, but women aren't doing that. It's just not happening. But they know that these guys aren't going to change. They know it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think they know that. Yeah.
Yeah, the key advice I have to give out to any woman, which is simple, is don't be picky, be extra picky. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if I'm not saying just because a guy has a booger in his nose to kick him to the curb, but at the same time, I feel that Black women, over the year, you've given men so many breaks that even if you're picky, you're still being fair. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect sense.
Act Natural Under Pressure is in the house. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Move in such a harsh and hard way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to address this comment from Dusty. With men have been addressed before you were born. Actually, no. Men's mental health and well-being has not been addressed. It's never been addressed. And it still hasn't currently been addressed. And that's why we're talking about it, because Iyanla was actually trying to focus on that within her show, but there were still cloaks over it and how it was being addressed. So yes, men's trauma, especially Black men, it needs to be addressed, but they need to go seek therapy. So we're the Black male therapists to help out the other Black men. That's something that you're going to have to address with them. But no, this has not been addressed on a mass level. Prior to your birth or even now currently, it hasn't, because Black men have been able to be under a protection of a cloak of protection, rather, in regards to all facets of them, due to all of the protesting and all the advocating that has been done. It is what it is. And that's the reason why it's not being addressed now on this show. It's easier to attack women. That's why it's a market for it.
As
It always has been.
As evidenced by their murder rate. As evidence, they're murdering each other every 2 hours and murdering Black women every 4.5 hours. So it's clear that it hasn't been addressed.
Let me show you what happens when a woman is not picky.
All right, Medic Nation, here we go again. Lorenzen Wright's goddaughter killed boyfriend charge. Nobody's safe from Tyrone. Fair use. Let's watch.
It's like 12 years ago, all over again, of murder. Somebody murdered somebody for nothing.
It's a bad dream Deborah Marion just can't seem to wake from. First, the murder of her son, NBA star Lorenzen Wright, in 2010, and now the death of Grativa Frierson just days ago. The woman who she says was Lorenzen Wright's goddaughter.
Her mother and Lorenzen was used to date.
I'm going to keep it short. No reason to go into it. That's what happens, though, when you're not picky. I'm not saying this happens all the time. No. What I am saying, though, is you increase your odds on bad things happening in your life. Black women, you cannot be risky anymore. You can't take any risks anymore. You can't take any flyers on a guy, turning out to be good anymore. Until God starts giving you 9 lives, that's that's not going to work. So, I mean, if I have to be mean at all to Black women, it's don't give these guys a hopeful that that underdog shit doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't. if you want a guy to be, if you want your spouse to be an underdog, he's an underdog from being a regular lawyer to a lead lawyer, that kind of shit. You know, not this, you know, I'm telling you, I've just been around a lot of bus drivers, and it's not only a job, it's a character. It's the type of people who take those kind of jobs. Okay. This is the type of dude right here.
I'm back with another triggering. So
dumb.
This is who they want you to settle for.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. This is an important thing right here. They want you to settle for Fat Albert.
Yep.
Verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive, Fat Albert.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But remember, he was just playing.
Exactly. Yeah. He's not red pill or manosphere. This is just entertainment.
Right.
And that's another thing that we delved into when we were talking about hip hop versus the Black community, this entertainment trope.
Right.
Like that you don't get to abscond your responsibility or society by saying that something is entertainment. That shouldn't even really be entertainment. I wanted to read Dusty Flair's comment. Being extra picky is the problem now. And Jenny Michelle gave the perfect retort. Dusty Flair, we're supposed to be picky. Black women haven't been picky enough. That's the problem. So in one breath you say choose better, in the next breath you say we're too picky. Make up your mind.
Right. That can make sense.
And then Dusty said, at Jenny, I'm talking about the extra part. And that, Dusty, the extra needs to be put in there because, number one, look what I just played.
Exactly.
Look what I just played.
Exactly. Again, extra picky. Like if women are choosing wrong by being picky now, then they should be extra picky.
Extra picky, right. Exactly.
Aleen's in the house. What is the extra part? And then Dusty comes out.
Yeah, you know, they always want to come with a quick little story about how some woman did something to some guy when the bottom line is, in mass, the numbers are speaking to it really not being safe for Black women to be getting into relations with them, especially as lawyers and their bus drivers, because with all that, see, we haven't even gotten into the other nooks and crannies, such as laws, such as, you know, all of the things that take place now that didn't at one time. You know, and a woman is not packing up going to mother's house like she would 60 years ago. Ain't no man putting me out of my spot. I'm not about to be sitting up in here battling with you or nothing like that. So all these things have to be taken into consideration and where we at today, especially people who have worked for things. Because back in the day, you go to your mama house and that was because the guy had bought the house for you anyway. That was your husband and you had no rights. Now, ain't no woman about to pack up and leave her spot like that. And even if you was renting an apartment, if your name is on the lease, you ain't about to move out and do all of this. Like, it could be costly. Like, it's so many different variables to relationships now. Right. So it's just like when I hear these Simple Simon conversations, it makes absolutely no sense. Especially with depending on what state you live in. I mean, you could end up screwed even before a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Just signing contracts.
You cannot let them leave anything in your home, and you cannot let them get mail at your home.
Right.
All right. Quick shout out to Supreme God is Rising in the house.
The assertiveness. Tell me how you would frame feminine traits. Aggressive. Okay.
Grace.
Aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive, not assertive. It's okay for a woman to be assertive. Grace, first of all. I think we've lost our grace. We move in such a harsh and hard way.
Was Grace like, yes, master? I clean up the kitchen real good. Is that the Grace she's talking about? I don't know.
We as Black women don't know what Grace she's talking about. We are waiting to hear it.
Grace, compassion. Nur-
Is she speaking about what we receive, or is she saying that we haven't given out enough grace and compassion? Please tell me she's not talking about what we haven't given out.
She's getting funny to me because it's like if the Black women are known, even through other races, for giving out the most compassion. Okay.
Right.
So to hear this, it's
freaking much compassion.
She must want to be a comedian or something, because that's
nurturing, nourishing, elegance. How about majesty? How about divinity? How about holiness? This is not a language you hear coming out of most women's mouths, but they'll talk about being a boss, being a.
Oh my God.
Let me let it play it through. It was gonna hurt my ears, but let me just play it.
Diva, being, in charge, and see of
that's like, from my experience, my 40 years experience plus of dating, I have rarely heard anybody. The boss chick thing, that's like 2% of the Black community. That's literally like 2%, maybe. So it's like she's mentally a dude.
Well, but Siobhan, this goes back to what you keep saying about art and life. See, they're taking a song that somebody wrote and taking this idea that some women have, and they're acting as though it embodies every Black woman in the community.
Yep. And that's how it gets started.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, right? They always talk about the strong Black woman trope, and you know what? I never heard a Black woman say that they were strong, independent, and they don't need anybody. I never heard one Black woman say that. But I've
heard it, but it was out of pain. It was
that was under duress. That was under duress. That was
I
crying
haven't
in the
heard
moment because he had left, and you found out he was gone, and he unplugged, took the TV from the kids and the whole nine, and you sat there and cried and said, "Don't worry, we're gonna make it. We don't need nobody." That's what happened when that was said.
I haven't heard that, but I do see Black women, they move as if they don't need anybody. And that's just because they have to.
But exactly. Say it again. Say it again.
Because they have to. Like, what you gonna starve? Like, what we gonna wait? What we waiting on? Who gonna come save us? You gotta
Right. I remember back in the well, let me go past this, but I want to read Melanated Vessels. We've been giving too much grace and haven't been receiving it in return. That's absolutely true.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, that hit hard. Okay, I'm sorry. Who did I interrupt?
Lucy Lash says, let a bus driver win $3 million in the lottery and watch how he'll never date an average woman again. Dating down is a game sold to Black women, not Black men.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, look at it this way. Remember the young lady who won the Powerball thing? She dated down.
She drugged that Dusty around till she lost millions. She lost most of her fortune, dragging that Dusty and giving him grace. So, and this is the same one Vanzant had on her show in her lap. Trying to get her through this struggle. So what she's saying is not matching up with the advice that she's giving to these women. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that the most harmful person to us is us in proximity to one another.
Right. Let me kick some shout outs real quick. Claudette Jones is in the house. Lucy Lash is in the house. Act Natural Under Pressure is in the house. Cassandra Brown is in the house. We also have Claudette Jones in the house. Miss RV, Hustler and Muscular is in the house. Monica is in the house. Chief Goddess is in the house. I think I got everybody so far. Jenny Michelle is in the house. Woo Said It is in the house. A is in the house. Let's keep it going. Okay.
Us are either not seated in our throne as queens, or we're in the throne and the crown is crooked, meaning we're in the throne and we don't really know how to hold that place without the masculine aggressiveness and demanding and attachment. And
Can you
it's
pause it for
killing
just a
us.
second?
It really is.
So, what's the difference between a queen and a boss when she's single? What's the difference?
Right. Good point.
So in a recent interview with our dear friends over at the Breakfast Club, that went very viral for very good reason, you said that women are being trained to be men in skirts. I will acknowledge, I will say I was triggered. I was a hit dog and I hollered to the entire production team to get you here today, because I actually think you're right. I think you're right, Iyanla. I do think that I'll just speak for myself vulnerably. When I think of a masculine posture and what I would expect a man to do in my life, two things come top of mind, and they are provide and they are protect. And when my lived experience, and I think I'm still relatively young, I guess, but I'm 40 in September. So, you know, I've had some relationships, and I've yet to find a man who has shown, I mean, this includes even my father, who was absent. I've yet to have a male energy that provided or protected me consistently ever.
Thoughts?
Siobhan.
I mean, that just further exacerbates it. It's like we're already living in a dog-eat-dog world. On top of that, she's confessing that she's never had any type of male protection. So her default setting is to go hard regardless.
Right.
So there you have it.
Right.
And why should she feel ashamed? That's the crazy part.
Yeah,
to
that
me,
is.
that women surviving because they had to on their own is demonized. So it as if there's a choice. It's insane to me. They're acting as if Black women have this choice to sit around and wait. When again, I'll keep saying it, the marriage rate is below 35%. Where can a Black woman just sit around and wait for a Black man to majestically come up and provide and protect?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And can we just further note that it doesn't even matter at this point, because depending on what age you are, let's just hypothetically say we all got married today, you know, and some stroke of luck. These men still have to be willing to get in the driver's seat and build something and actually be of the mindset. And that's not going to happen. So I don't even know why they're trying to force us to try to live in some type of delusion that is not going to exist in real time anytime soon. Like, it would take too much effort. Like, for a 40-year-old man, he would need the next 20 years. That's half of the summation of his life to even show that he's been able to get up on his feet and be consistent.
Right.
You know, a lady said we need to, I guess she says we should go on Love After Lockup.
All right, but you know, that's the funny thing is, see, she's talking about relationships and a woman following a man, and this is the type of dude she wants to
And wait, I think I'm still relatively young, I guess, but
I'm back with another trigger reality.
Ain't shit. And it ain't just Corey talking crazy. Now that you see that a funky bitch is the worst thing God put on this earth.
That's who she wants. That's who Vanzant wants you to.
And look at the tap dance and Sambo across, just smiling and cheesing and laughing.
He looks stupid.
Straight up stupid with his corny self.
Stupid.
Like, all of them. That wasn't even funny. And it's insane that these men have, again, these women are birthing creatures. Like, they're literally birthing demons. Because this is what we're getting, and this is what's coming out of their mouths. They have no respect for women. Absolutely none. Not even the ones that birthed them.
Right.
I mean, again, really, quite honestly, as a man, back in the day, one of the edge we had over other races of men dating Black women was that we were less derogatory and we were not as disrespectful as these other men would be. That's not the same anymore. It's not the same. We are just as bad, if not worse, than some other race of man at the same time. We no longer have that caveat to hold over Black women of saying, well, you know, we love you. We don't, from at least from a red pill perspective, at the very least, we have no more love for you than any other race of man around here. Really, and I hate to say it, I really do, but it's something you need to understand. When men exhibit behavior like this, what we're doing is we're hiding behind our brown skin, okay? And being just as derogatory, being just as racist, being just as as discriminatory as anybody else, you know? So I guess my point is that if this does not wake you up to your situation, I don't know what will. Here, this dude is not talking, this man right here, he's not talking about a Caucasian woman. He's not talking about an Asian woman. He's not talking about, you know, a Latin woman. He's talking about you like this. This man who has at least 500,000 followers and shit, and was a comedian, and this guy has gone through the business, so he knows how to behave the way he needs to get his check. Yet you hear him. Look how vulgar mouthed, and there's a point in here where he really means what he's talking about. He really means what he's talking about. So if this is what we have to offer, and I guarantee you more men will follow him than me, okay? If that's what, that's all you need to know.
And that's why gun sales went up for Black women. Monica M says, and according to Red Pill standards, most Black women don't qualify for providers and protectors. I heard KS loud and clear. He empowered me more than any feminist. Jenny B says they praise Black women for being ride or dies, and in the same breath tell them they need to choose better, that they only love Pookies and Ray Rays, said by the Pookies and Ray Rays.
Exactly.
Right. I'll just speak for myself vulnerably. When I think of a masculine posture and what I would expect a man to do in my life, two things come top of mind, and they are provide and they are protect. And when my lived experience, and I think I'm still relatively young, I guess, but I'm 40 in September. So, you know, I've had some relationships, and I've yet to find a man who has shown, I mean, this includes even my father who was absent. I've yet to have a male energy that provided or protected me consistently ever. So I think that I have taken on the reins to protect and provide for myself, because what I'm not going to do, Iyanla, is be without. Baby, it's not happening.
Be without what?
So that
Be
would
without what?
be without protection, and be without the necessities of life.
Okay.
But I say that with an invitation, Iyanla, check me. Show me the error of my ways. Tell me how I might be missing it, because I might be.
Okay. I too am an alpha woman. So I understand what that means. And I tell people all the time,
Why?
Siobhan,
Listen, I told y'all, listen, listen, Iyanla went through a whole red pill mashup. I know she was on everybody. We don't have to name their names, but I'm thinking now she was on the top channels, just going through, just like a renegade, just going through. She did the whole mashup. She must have kept it on while she was asleep, got in the shower listening to it the whole nine. She on the whole marathon with it. This is crazy.
I was a horrible mother. I was a horrible mother. I was a great father. And I was a horrible mother because I'd never been mothered. So I didn't know how to affirm, how to nurture, how to nourish, how to guide. I knew how to direct, how to demand, how to discipline, and like you said, provide and protect. Those are masculine energies. And the distinction here is
That's not
men
true.
build, women create.
That's what I was finna say.
It's adulting.
That's not
It's
true.
adulting.
Yes.
It's adulting. And creative, you were right.
Right.
She's projecting. So because
She
you were
is.
those things don't mean that everybody else was those things.
Right.
And then, but she's still being male identified in
Right.
terms of child rearing in of itself. And the father, and see, this is another thing too with the delusions. The father isn't going to always be there, like literally. So why are we sitting here acting like, see, this is where TV shows, I think, have screwed everybody over. Wait until Paul gets home. No, that was on TV. In real life, you might have to react in real time and daddy ain't there, and vice versa. So, you have to equally teach the children certain standards and values. So she's not even making any sense with what she's talking about.
You know what I hate? I hate it when you're having a conversation with somebody and then somebody they try to put words in your mouth to make it seem like you said all of this or you came from all of this and this is your background and this is the way you feel. And I feel like that's what she's trying to do right now.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's trying
she
to.
Didn't say, go ahead, DJ. I'm sorry.
She's trying to be the authority for all women.
Yeah,
right.
She is.
Because she didn't say any of those things. Ebony didn't say any of those things.
Right.
Is Ebony even a mother?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think she has any children. I mean, because that would have been addressed. I'm pretty sure. So, she was talking about herself, just like what Creative was saying. This is pure projection. She took it and she ran with it another way, and then it still wasn't making any sense. Because how are you now saying that you were the father? That makes no sense. When you clearly were the mother, that raised your children. How are you addressing yourselves as the father? That makes no sense. I don't even like. I know women do that, but that makes no sense to me.
Unless she's talking about within her marriage. Maybe. I have no idea. That was the first thing I thought of. I was like, well, is she saying she was out of place because she had a husband and she wasn't allowing him to do it? Again, that would still be projection on her part. But
Yeah, right. Even then, right.
All right.
I just don't understand.
Mercy Me says, it broke my heart when people gaslight me going to school at 30. There's never an age that you cannot go to school. There are geniuses who went to school in their 50s. But I got over that ish quick. Yeah. But I got over that ish quick. I want a career that pays me more than $17 an hour. No offense to anyone. Do your thing, Mercy Me. Do your thing.
Yeah. Mercy Me, you got this. Do what's best for you, and don't allow anyone to shame you out of doing that. Even the people in the classrooms, wherever they are, because it's about you. Nobody is going to come to your home and pay you money for not going to school.
Right.
So do what's best for you and yours.
Yeah, you should always continue to read for the rest of your life as long as you can, and continue to go to workshops and classes. It keeps the brain sharp. It keeps you in contact and in network with people. That's what life is about.
Yep, exactly. I mean, some people enjoy going to school in college and further education. They actually enjoy it. You have to tear them away from the institution. And that's because some people just enjoy getting their mind fed. So, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I went to school. I was called Brainiac. My friends come because I loved school. I went to school all year round because I loved it. I actually loved sitting in the classroom and being a sponge. And Mika said she's 40 and she's about to bridge from LPN to RN, which I've been around a lot of nurses. I've been around a lot of LPNs. And let me tell you, they are hard working. And the beauty about what she's doing is she's working and going to school, and she can use her job as her OJT and her internship. So it's working for you. Like, these men are crazy who are out here saying that women are getting useless degrees. These women are getting their foot in the door and doing what they need to do and building on their careers. And even like Monica was saying, I keep saying it too, the GS scale,
getting a government job, like once you get your foot in the door, it's limitless. Like it's limitless. And there are things that Black women can do that propel themselves forward. And it don't feel bad. It don't look left, don't look right. Do what you need to do for you and yours.
Chief Goddess says she speaks with a forked tongue. She offers no clarity. Her purpose is to keep Black women in a state of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, she herself though is in a state of confusion. Yeah. So
Exactly, Siobhan.
that's the whole thing.
Okay, in the house, Kiki Keisha. In the house, Henry Mars, just in case I forgot. I think I said Henry earlier, but I got him now. In the house, Lucy Lash. And let's see if I missed anybody. I don't want to miss anybody. No, I think I got everybody. Okay.
So we know how to build. We know how to get to the external and get the work done and drive and push and do it. We don't know how to be still, create it, and allow it to come to us. And
allow what?
Where
I have a question. Allow what?
Wait, where are they doing that at? Wait, when do you stand still and somebody just handed you something? Please, somebody direct me to the line because I need to get an express ticket to wherever that is. Please.
I mean, what
the whole hell is she saying, DJ?
This a woman's thing? Because I don't understand. I don't
I
understand what
don't
you're talking about.
know. If she's talking about the law of attraction, that's a whole nother segment. But she's not talking about that. So I don't know what she's talking about. Either way, the woman has to go out there and get it. Any person has to go out there and get it. So what is she saying?
I know I caught Ebony and
she just demonized the whole spirit of survival. Like she just demonized that.
Right.
I'm baffled.
I know I caught Ebony mid-frame, but this last say that's the look right there.
Yes, that face is perfect for what she's saying. Because it's just like, are you kidding me?
Man.
I learned that when I lost everything. I learned how to create because I had already built and it all crumbled. The house, the husband, the job, the contracts, the professional career.
So it sounds like to me, the husband part is that she wants you to do the same thing she did and it crumbled on her.
But that was her personal situation. She's anecdotal. That's your personal situation. And then if she feeds into this, women file divorce the most. I'm gonna throw my electronic devices all over the room. You're just gonna hear it. You're gonna start hearing stuff break up. I promise.
You guys gotta see how her and her husband broke up. She's a whole nother lunatic because she divorced her husband. Well, her husband, I think, fell out of love with her because she would talk down to her husband like he was a child. And she would do it on live television in front of people.
Dang, and she wants to give out relationship advice?
Talk about it.
In the world, stripped of it all the attachments, the necessities of life, the creature comforts, until I was stripped down to the bare bone. And then I had to learn how not to build. Build is external. Create is internal. And we as women have the power to create and attract anything we desire. But we don't get still. We won't shut up. And we manage everything through fear, control, and survival.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to feeling, knowing, and blooming or flourishing.
I bet you can go through one of her videos and she said the exact same thing.
I need wading boots to get through all of this bull that she's putting out. Like all of it is the same. All of it is the same, and it's predicated upon your environment. You can't sit back and be this docile damsel in distress when the world around you is beating you down and telling you that you can't, and you have obstacles at every turn. You better be a long distance runner. You better be able to high jump. You better be able to run those hurdles. in a certain amount of speed, because nothing around you is waiting for you to sit back and create and for it to come to you. Like, what kind of magic is she talking about?
But let's say, even though she did say that, so let's take that into perspective, right? So I can understand what she's saying in terms of that. But still, as a woman, you still have to create that. It doesn't matter what path you take. The woman still has to create the foundation and build for herself. So I don't understand this. Like, even though we took that into consideration, she still has to do it for herself.
That's true. Rico says that's why her old ass is off TV today. That is so true. Let
Act
me mix.
Natural Under Pressure said, "Let's just shut up, y'all, so we can get what we want." And you know
Yeah,
what?
let's see how that works.
The only silence that I advise is moving in silence.
Yes. Yes, by not answering these questions any longer. We should not be having this discussion any longer after this.
Mercy Me said, "How can you build a better situation and stand still?" Make that
Right.
make sense.
Right. Melanated Vessel says, this is lovely, lonely woman talk. She's now gaslighting herself and feels she's failed because she didn't wind up with it all. She's now adding extra value on that husband because she doesn't have one.
Yeah, that's a good one. She hasn't found her other half. What's that other? There's a other speaker who was single for a while. I think his was I forgot her name, but she was a very good speaker, and she didn't get proposed until like some years later, and she found a husband. So what's wrong with Iyanla? Why she can't find somebody?
Yeah, I mean, she my age. She should, she should have found somebody else, right?
Yeah, there's
And she
no
had all the
excuse,
answers, right?
right? She should be out there dating.
Let me play a different perspective.
Somebody asked me, who would you date? Would you date blue collar? And I said, I would date somebody who makes less money than me, but I probably would not date somebody who is blue collar. And they said, well, why? Why not? This is a real issue that I've never seen people really reckon with. Because so somebody weeks ago asked me, okay, who would you date? This person, would you date blue collar? Would you not? And I said, I would date somebody who makes less money than me, but I probably would not date somebody who is blue collar. I do date men who have college degrees. And they said, well, why? Why not? And this is my real response. And this is a real issue that I've never seen people really reckon with, because I am a Black woman who has access to so many upper middle class, above average earning Black women. And I see how they've navigated their romantic lives. And this is different generations, different nationalities, different ethnicities, all Black women. And so many of them have, particularly older women, had no, college degree requirement, honestly, because if you're a certain age, you can't really have a college degree requirement and date Black men. Like, the pool just is not there. Had no income requirement and partnered these men, married these men, and the results were disastrous. The class difference, the resentment that comes from that is absolutely disastrous. Something that Kevin Samuels nor the rest of these men are really contending with is what happens when there is a large class difference, not just financial, like socioeconomic difference, but class difference, meaning what do you do for fun? Who do you hang out with? What books do you read? What newspaper? Like, the idea that is just going to be so easy for both parties to surmount, it's crazy. I have never seen that happen. What I have seen happen is women saying, oh, that does not matter. We can be partnered. and the men realizing, oh, I cannot fucking handle this. There is no attention paid to the resentment from men when they are on the lower class and they have to look up to their female partner financially and socioeconomically. And there's all of these things that you don't know, experiences that you have to learn. I have seen that firsthand. And I'm not saying that, trying not to yell anymore in the new microphone. I'm not saying that.
That's a cool microphone. That's a Logitech microphone right there. She got something good. That ain't cheap. That ain't cheap. Anyway, what are your thoughts on what she's saying so far?
No, this is true. I've seen this in my family. Stuff like this clash, and I just be wondering, like, why, what these women look for in these men? Like, what kind of class? Sometimes I'd be like, yo, you're like 30 years old or 35. Shouldn't you want more from a man? Like, you already got kids. Like, I feel like they're dating men who are in their teens, who's still stuck in that teenage phase where they want to wear Jordans and smoke weed and have money and just chill on the corner, or they just want to gather up with their homeboys. And it's just like, oh my God. And then when I be telling them my standards are like higher, like I can't even look at that. They look at me like I'm uppity or something is wrong with me. And I just be like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't relate to them.
I think the Urbanisa or Siobhan was talking about this earlier. Weren't you guys, Siobhan?
Yeah. Yeah, when I was just, what part are you talking about though? Because I was talking about, we talked about a few things, but one is, this is why I'm so adamant about, please just stop even answering these questions. Stop having these conversations, because when you put things like that in the universe, it'll come back to test you. And on top of that, you're also given the blueprint on how to scam you. So it's like we have to get out of ego. And I think what happened as Black women is we watched Black men do that, and we kind of took on and kind of adapted to that, where it's like it's an over explanation of certain terms and conditions that, let who you are exude you. Let it be you. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to break down. And that's where the argument with the degrees, and I think that comes from as well. Like, that's the only echo of it that I could relate to, in terms of, you don't have to beat people upside the head with your successes and your life story. Because if you remain open to it and you walk with intent, then you'll start meeting and cultivating better people. But you pick up scammers along the way, because when you're sitting there talking about what you're not about to do, this, that, and the third, then people start dialing up. Oh, okay. So now let me come with this. Then he gonna start telling you he going back to school. Then he gonna start telling you he about to get his real estate license. All this
That's
stuff.
so true.
Before you know it, you laid up with him, and then he done scammed you out. And by the time the receipts start coming out, now you quote unquote caught up.
And the thing about it is, they can see you. It's some that will see you doing what you're doing. Not even if you're not just you talking about it, but they see you doing what you're doing, and they know that they have to approach you a certain way. I had a guy when I was on my grind hard, trying to get to where I am now. He was like, he told me he was going back to school for something. I promise you, he made this up. It's like, I just looked at him like, what? Like, that is not even a real curriculum. Like, where did you get that from? But they will switch up on you, depending upon who you are, and you have to be aware. Like, they will say absolutely anything, and I agree. Like, keep what you do and your drive and your motivation and your purpose to yourself, unless it's someone of like mind who is going in the same direction that you're going in, because you will have those outliers that will try to manipulate you and try to bring you down. It's people that, and I said this before, like dragons. And I don't believe in drag-ons. Men will hold on to you. They would drag onto you so that they could ride your coattails of accomplishments.
Right.
So it's best to move in silence.
Yep. That's when you take good old Miss Iyanla's advice and bat your eyelashes in grace and gratitude. That's when you play. It's a time and place to play deaf, dumb, and blind. And when it comes to opening up the book of your life, you want to hold on to it very sacred, especially in these type of times that we in, because we already see that this is on repeat. So you don't want to bring the vultures out. So you keep things on the low, and then watch how you attract other kind of energy anyway, and then you won't have to deal with these scammers and these guys that come along and waste your time telling you how he about to do this, that, and the third, because he hearing you say things like that.
Mhm.
Well, if he ambitious, then I'll ride it out with him. I'll stay down for him. And then he like, oh, okay, check. So now I can come in like this and maneuver like that. And it's like, no,
And I
keep
promise
access.
you, that's how a lot of women get married to men that will quit their jobs once they're married to that woman.
Oh yeah, that's another, because you saying things like that, Gemini. You hit the nail on the head when you start saying things like I'll stay because if we bought a house and everything is everything, I don't mind paying the bills. Stop telling these men stuff like that, because you setting yourself up to get drove right into the pit of it.
And they laugh at me every time I see something like that because I'm petty. Like, we'll be sitting there broke, homeless together. Like, I'm not getting ready to take care of an adult. Period. I'm petty. Now I'm petty, but trust and believe I got some savings on the side that he doesn't know anything about. But I'm just gonna sit there and look at you. You quit your job today? Really? When do you plan on going back? You have 30 days to find something to do something. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here and look at each other together, because I'm not getting ready to sit out here and mule for a grown man. That's not happening.
Right. No, but you guys said it's true. I don't think any woman should talk about the things that they're gonna do in their relationships and all of the good things, because these men will take note of that, and some of them will even try to get you pregnant too.
Yes.
Yeah, it all becomes however they can fit it in. Yeah, it's going to eventually become a part of the scam. And that's because you've already introduced him to the fact that he can play with you.
Right.
Melanated Vessel says Iyanla is in desperation mode at this point, and therefore her advice is coming from a desperate stance as well. It's dangerous rhetoric she's pushing. A woman of her intellect should know better. #ego.
Yeah, she should know better. But see, you know what? I'm gonna tell y'all too, because we forgot to talk about this. What's happening with Iyanla is tired, y'all, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. Because Iyanla been on the phone with all of her friends that are her age, and they tired of their dusty old Kang sons sleeping on their couch. So they looking for women to liquidate them on. And that's why,
Come
they
on
battling
now.
us out.
Come on now. And that's another
Let's keep it real.
that's the other dangerous woman. Were you getting ready to say something, DJ Torch? I'll say what I was gonna say after you finish.
If you could read Jenny's message and then continue.
Okay, Jenny B says the real gag is a lot of these red pill manosphere dust mites are married to Black women. That's true. Why are they concerned with Black women education, careers, etc. is beyond me. And the Black women married to them are goofy, goofy AF. But that's true. And you hear them talk about these women, or you hear them that it's one guy that goes on every show and he's always inebriated. I think his name is like Brandon or something like that. And he's with this woman, and people were like, they wanted to hear from her because it was like, we don't believe you're with someone. But it is goofy women that are with these men who know who they are and know what they do. And that dude has like 2 baby mamas. So yeah, you're right. Like, a lot of these dudes are talking this nonsense in somebody's closet. They're in their grandmother's closet. Like, what's that dude? Razor Rays. In somebody's closet, talking all kind of crazy crap, stealing internet Wi-Fi from McDonald's across the street. Like, don't even qualify to even be in proximity to you because of who they are. And what they're talking about is women that they can't even come in contact with on a regular basis. And we're incessantly giving them our energy. People, they come here just to draw energy from women that they'll never be in proximity to because they couldn't even speak to you in real life. And I encourage women, stop giving these dusties any of your time, your energy, and keystrokes in these comment sections. Do what I do. Like, if I want to really talk to a dusty, what I'll do is talk to the person who said something before. I'll talk to the other women about the dusty. Like, don't give them your energy. Talk around them because it doesn't even make sense.
All right. Shout out to Jen J in the house. Shout out to You Can't Get Laid in the house. Shout out to Jenny B. Shout out to Scott Haywood. Shout out to Woo Said It. Shout out to Monica M. Shout out to Strums in the house. Shout out to Mercy Me. Let's see if I missed anybody. I think I got everybody. Okay. Let's watch the tail end of this, and then we'll go from there.
These men don't deserve love, care, and affection partnership. I am saying that because I have seen the deep resentment that those kinds of dynamics create, that I would not just suggest anybody just do that willy-nilly. Like it's
Okay, so basically what she's saying is really the equally yoked argument. And it's very important because it's not that dating down is such a bad thing, it's that when you date down and you date to somebody who really doesn't appreciate your quality or your education or your conversation, then you're gonna get a devalued situation. You're not gonna feel that way. Only what usually happens is only people that have worked hard like you do in the circle that you've been in will appreciate everything you've done. It's like it's like feeding caviar, okay, to a guy who just wants a hamburger. He'll sleep with a hamburger before he wants any caviar because he just doesn't appreciate caviar. Now I can't stand caviar myself.
He
but-
doesn't have the taste buds for caviar.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. At least not the long-term taste buds. If you see where I'm going with
Because
this.
he's never had it and he's never been exposed to it. So he wouldn't even know what to do with it.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, come on, a relationship is what, 2/3 mental? Can we agree on that? So how are you going to mentally stimulate somebody if you're not even you don't have anything in common? It very rarely happens that fire and ice works. Let's just put it that way. It's very rare. So that's just the point she's making here. Is like it just the dating down thing just never worked. If anybody can name something where somebody would dated down and it worked out, great, fine. But that's just going to be a small percentage, like 5% of all marriages, ever that worked out.
But you see, the reason why marriage was first established anyway was due to royalty. That should be the lesson that we all as a collective should be understanding.
Right.
Because the idea was about getting two people and bringing them together, not only for wealth transference, but the idea of this, virgin woman marrying this young lad was because they both equally came from a namesake. So it was about status, and it's about wealth. So we should be of that realization, but these guys want to keep fighting when this was never really designed for us. We were designed to be the help in this model, not to live it. We just tried to call ourselves catching up and playing the game, but we never were really all the way in it anyway.
Okay, I want to play. Where is it at? Ebony's response.
So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of Black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and Black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best. Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of Black men. So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that Black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of conditioning Black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about Black folk in America, no, average is not and will never be good enough for me. And the gag is, I don't think it's good enough for you either.
Okay, Ebony says she not average at best, honey.
Okay.
Y'all better catch that.
A whole read. The mic was dropped. As a matter of
Mhm.
fact, it wasn't even dropped. It was thrown across the room at somebody's forehead. But
right. Yeah, that was deep, and they were crying over the C's and D's. So you could already
what?
Yeah, they were crying. I seen some woo. I saw some tears, honey, over the C's and D's. They was in they bag over.
And see, you know, that we weren't even allowed. Like that wasn't allowed. We were not allowed to bring home C's and D's. Like not allowed. So when you, like she said, you know, it's okay. Like the participation award, you participated. They're not being pushed to do their best.
No, they're not. There is no bar. Almost, it's almost like it's non-existent. You know, especially for the males, because she's right when she said about the pat on the pat on the head of, oh well, at least you tried. We already know that that's been common. You know, within the community, we know that. You know, but and the girls were always taught, go to get your education, get your schooling, you know, so it's kind of like things were kind of taught in reverse in a lot of ways. And then I guess somehow I don't know what they thought, that it was supposed to be a Jedi mind trick and that these guys were supposed to get older and somehow, you know, figure it out. I don't know. I mean, you know, it's
and then,
odd.
Again, it goes back to these absentee men that want to, their fathers were absentee, but somehow it's their mother's fault. And Mr. Let Himself Go actually verbalized this by saying he's upset with his mother that she didn't pick him a better father.
Whoa. Okay, so the truth is finally coming out, because that's been my theory with these guys anyway, is that, you know, and that's where I think the colorism comes in as well, is because they're ashamed that their mothers are Black and that their mother wasn't some type of preference where she could have had more options to choose a better father. So I'm not surprised that he would say that.
Mm-hmm. And he can't see his behavior mirrors that of the same men that his mother was fooling with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the boogeyman that he doesn't want to look at, because it's easy to look in the rear view mirror. He's looking back, but he's not looking at the man in the mirror. Let me quote Michael. You know, and it takes a lot of hard work for these guys to do that, and most of them won't. A lot of these guys won't evolve. They just won't. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication and discipline, and these guys don't have it, especially if they're arguing and complaining about, you know, 4 years of education in college. You know.
Genevieve says, so they're telling on themselves. So their ceiling is being a bus driver. They barely have GEDs and they only get C's and D's. Are there A's and B's?
It's like we always. It's like we're always standing on a hill, looking down the hill at the Black men. It's like
no, not looking down, not standing on a hill looking down. We're always standing on the hill, pulling them up.
Right.
And then we lay down so they can cross over us. And it still is not enough, because when we come to the next hill, we're expected to do the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
But
we're masculine. But we're not feminine enough. We're not all of these things that we're not. Right. And
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm a dainty flower.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you should essentially.
I'm saying in their mind, we're not this, and this. Right?
No, I was just being funny.
I know.
We won't shut up. And we manage everything through fear, control, and survival. As opposed to feeling, knowing, and blooming or flourishing. Complete different thing. But since we've never been trained, we haven't been taught. So we do it the way we were taught to do it, which is very masculine in nature.
And very external. I feel that you are describing me to a T, Miss Iyanla. Now, is this why you are conducting a rites of passage program so that women, all of Black women in particular, can learn to create?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
No.
Oh.
Please say no. Oh my God.
So this is her scam. This is her scam.
I told y'all you gotta, if you look, you gotta come to the women. You know, that's the thing. That's the thing. Yep.
Women, so that we can learn our authentic power, that we can
Remember, she was just as much as a failure as Kevin Samuels was.
That part. Well, a little bit better than him, but still about the same.
Right. Well, she's twice as educated. I mean,
No. I mean, in terms of the longevity of her marriages.
Right. I mean, plus she's smarter than Kevin's. Her pinky is smarter than Kevin's. I will give her that much because, she is highly educated and he wasn't. But other than that, she's crazy. She's crazy.
The distinction between a powerful woman and a woman in her power. There's a distinction, but there are skills and tools and practices and processes that we have to learn at every age. The 20s have a process. The 30s have a process. The 40s have a 50, 60. We each have a process. And if you don't learn your 20 process, you're going to be doing it at 50. If you don't complete your 30 process, you're going to be doing it at 60. And that means you'll be running on overdrive instead of seated in your power. Yes. And the secrets are there. They come from our culture. They come from our history, but no one has taught us. So me, as a descendant of Africans and Native Americans, I have a very lovely blend and mix. And for a long time, I didn't do it because women in general, they don't want to hear. They think their way is right. And I'm crazy when I say sit down, shut up, and listen, and you can create what you want.
Listen to who?
Okay, but we don't have to be abusive though.
That part, and you know what's funny, Siobhan? What is this? This goes back to what did she say earlier about herself and mothering?
Right. Yeah, she's being the very thing that she just spoke against earlier, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, she's dipped and dripped in hypocrisy. We do not have to beat up on each other for a culture of women who have already been beat up on, the same way that we don't equally have to start pulling out a bunch of beds, lining them up so everybody can lay down and die on them. We can find a happy medium and of understanding in order to get the message out there. But this dogmatic attitude, that's going completely against what she's talking about.
I just don't understand why she thinks she's the only one who could come up with a course and who could sit down and, listen and create things. There's other women who have intuition who could do the same things too. So her saying, you just shut up and, and listen. I mean, it's condescending in a way.
And I want to know first. Okay, sorry, Gemini, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying this real quick, and I know this is gonna get some flag, but I'd rather sit up under a white woman to tell me how to manipulate men than to sit up under this woman hollering at me and yelling at me and telling me what I need to take. I would rather sit under a white woman who's giving out manipulation classes.
Yeah, because I'm trying to wonder, now my next question would be to dive in deeper and find out what her motive is. Because if we're already in a society where the birth rates are down, marriage rates are down, David's bridal is closing, then what is her intent with this? And why are we always trying to usher in women to be, robotic, and then the men are just able to run around like wild animals? Like that there's no conformity in that. That makes no sense in terms of polarity. It's like, haven't we learned that already? I mean, girls were already going to finishing school, and then guys were expected to just be men. Like, I thought we were getting past that. So I want to know, what is her intent with this? As far as, because now she's trying to act like a pseudo dating coach. So is she trying to guarantee these women a husband? And this
can't be if she can't guarantee herself one.
Right. I don't understand where she's coming from. That's what is giving me grifter vibes. Like, what are we doing, Iyanla? You might as well go back into that show and try to reactivate it another way. But I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna work.
A lady says she's a pro-black quack. Remember when DMX wanted to sue and fight her?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can you tell us about that, Siobhan? Because I don't know about that.
Well, he was on the show, and she had united him with his eldest child, and it was the show was in regards to him and his addiction and his relationship with his family and his wife, and she brought the son on there. She was talking reckless a bit, and he was a feisty man and very set in his ways, so it didn't really work out. So he ended up threatening to sue the network and what have you not.
So she was in her masculine at the time?
Yes, she was very much in her masculine then, and she was even criticized at the time for even talking to him as a man. So that's what I'm saying. She's contradicting herself when she already came from a platform of even dealing with men. Now she's crossing over. And this is why I tell women, you're the ultimate grift, especially Black women. It's unfortunate, but we are like the ultimate lick, the ultimate come up, because there's so many different sectors of us that have certain yearnings that people can tap into it. And let me just take what I said earlier and just spill this into life itself. Stop telling people everything about yourself. Stop opening up. And that's the thing with us. We are so open, because we have so much of, we're always trying to connect. And as women, that's an automatic thing. But this is how we get grifted upon. In the financial sector, in the relationship sector, in the self-improvement sector, because it's always somebody coming along promising you something. And anyone who's really trying to teach you how to find yourself and how to be your own leader, they're going to encourage you to find the answer within yourself. And that's just like the best piece of advice that I could give to you guys as a collective, because, these people are going to continue to pull up, and they're going to continue to placate on your traumas, on your potential to come up. And that's what she's doing now. And now once again, they're following algorithms, and they're finding out that Black women are willing to be helped. We're willing to pay for it. And then, hey, let the floodgates open for the grifters like this.
Right. Lucy Lash says Iyanla can't create a husband school for Black men because she knows Black men aren't interested in marriage. Iyanla will go to the grave covering for Black men's failures at Black women's expense.
Right. Even Umar, that's why I said, y'all know Umar Johnson was going to Black women. Why haven't the Black men got together and Ben helped him build that school? He comes to the women and tries to talk to you because they already know that men are not likely. DJ Torch, you know it. Men are very stubborn to change.
Yeah, very. It's impossible.
Natural. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Ag Natural Under Pressure says, who checks the teacher because she needs some upgrades? Oya Terminator said she was married before until her husband put hands and feet on her.
Ooh.
See?
So she's really, the thing is this. The funny thing is she's 10 times more qualified than Kevin Samuels ever was, right? But she's still terrible. That's how bad Kevin Samuels was.
Right. What was it that your trigger said? Bargain basement dusties that are still too expensive for clearance.
Pretty much.
They don't want to hear that.
Well, I want to hear it. So tell me when the sign up is. I don't want to miss it. Let me know when you're taking registrations because I am curious. I had a very lovely single Black mother, and I'm going to get to the statistics on single Black motherhood and family life. But she was, by definition, more of a father figure in terms of providing and protecting. And I think that's very common. So according to the U.S. Census, Iyanla, 23% of households in the country are single parent households. And we know 80% of them are led by women. How does this affect the child? Both little girls, little boys, non-binary children. How does that frame their expectation of women when the mother is in charge?
It all depends on what the mother or the woman demonstrates about being a woman. If she's demonstrating that it's hard and it's rough and nobody's helping me and I gotta do this and you gotta do it this way, then that's what the children are gonna get. If she's angry because she's alone, if she's desperate because if she's not conscious, if she's not careful. I mean, when I look at the damage that I did to my children, not being clear about who I am as a feminine expression of the chief architect and creator of the universe.
And she wants to be your teacher for only $59.99 a month. You know, get yourself, order yourself a dysfunction. Dysfunction 2. You get, you know, so that's the funny thing is like, she's telling, I mean, don't get me wrong, you can learn from your mistakes, but it sounds like to me she never did. So how is she going to teach anybody else?
Yeah, it seems like she's still punishing herself, and now she's just on recruit, looking for other people that she could punish and, you know, and verbally annihilate.
Exactly.
Real dark-sided. Yeah.
You know, I'm reading the chat as well. And you have these guys that swear they swear by SYSBM, but guess where they always are?
Right. Right.
Like if they were actually, and you know, when I first heard like the MGTOW thing, I was like, okay, you know, that's cool in theory. It really is. Because if they're actually concentrating on themselves, traveling, building businesses, networking, that's an awesome idea. But no, that's not the premise of their ideology, nor is SYSBM. The premise of their ideology is just to shame women and try to manipulate women into being with them by saying it's like the kid, like when you're little kids, I'm not playing with you anymore. Like, okay, you know, it's
Right.
that type of vibe that they're giving off. We're not going to play with you anymore on the playground, so don't go away. But they won't leave.
Monica says, different generation. The children have tools outside of the parents. They have access to information. They know if their parents aren't good parents. They will course correct in their teens. Well said.
Well, yeah, and then what she was focused on too, with what she said is she's talking about not talking to your children. And of course, you know, there are more tools, like Monica just said, and, you know, there are more ways in which you can have conversations because your children do need to know about good times, bad times in certain ways. You know what I mean? You just have to be selective and use discernment because you have to teach them real life.
Yes.
You know, she's talking about that time where you just hid everything and made it seem like everything was cool. And then they got out in the world and then their whole mind got messed up. So yeah, we're past all of those old family secrets that brought a lot of deceit, brought a lot of shadiness, and also brought a lot of bitterment and resentment that ended up being passed over to some of us later on that had to grow, you know, come up in it later on in the latter generation. So, you know, we've broken those chains. Your kids are gonna have to see you cry, they're gonna have to see you laugh. I mean, you know, we could keep it more real than that. But I don't even understand, once again, the premise of what she's talking about in terms of trying to train these young women if she's not willing to dive into that factor of it all, you know.
And
that's where a lot of the pain came from, a lot of the secrets.
And quite frankly, I'm just so sick of women being preached to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's always been these men, when they address anybody, they're like, you see these guys on videos who are talking to people, they're not talking to other men. They're always talking to women. They're always talking to women. So you have a demographic of men, like you guys were saying earlier, that just don't want to do better.
Yeah, and that's where women, and that's why I'm telling women, Gemini, that they're the biggest lick right now, especially Black women, because remember, everything now is within the algorithm of itself. because we're spending money on these cards and all of that. So they're tracking everything. So they know that our spending power is going on self-help and improvement and all of that. They know how these trends go. So that makes you an open market. So this is the perfect time to let your inner baddie step out and be really secluded and sacred about what you're investing into, because you really have to find the answer to where you're going to go with all of this information at this point. You're going to have to make that choice for yourself. But running to somebody else and them telling you how they can promise and guarantee you, like these people are doing, they're going to guarantee you with these lessons that they're going to give you a husband and that you're going to do this, you're going to do that. They can't guarantee you nothing, because you already should look at the stats and know what these guys are working with. And even in terms of dating out and all of that, you still have to deal with the other pool of women who are still going to be in the market for those men. So this is just a journey that you're going to have to navigate and figure out on your own. But going to these people with this fake self-help stuff, like they about to transform your life, no, they're not. They just hustling. And it's obvious she is. And then she wants to have fun and get paid off of beating you up off of your own trauma. Be careful who you telling your business to.
This is true.
All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up. Let's go to last words. We'll start with Creative. Creative, what are your last words for this evening?
I really didn't like this interview per se. I mean, I do like Iyanla. I like her when she has her speeches. She's very good at motivational speeches. But I didn't really like this one-on-one interview that she does with this young lady. And when she was doing her show to heal people, some of the things that she was saying was just like, really? So I think she probably needs to do a little bit more healing for herself and not to project her feelings onto other people. Yeah, I think she still has her old way of thinking, and she comes off as a mammy, and I feel like, yeah, she is. She will take it to the graveside. She will always stand down for Black men. And I don't know, is it because she's a mother or I don't know, but yeah, she comes off as a mammy. And then I think she'll just try to throw fault on the woman, even though she doesn't really know what the woman has been through. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of I would say like my parents and my grandparents. That's what it reminds me of. Like people that you don't want to talk to or tell your problems to. Yeah, so those are that's how I feel.
Thank you, Creative. Eden Queen, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, I can't completely dismiss her. I mean, she gives good advice. She's inspirational. I mean, from what I've seen of her clips and whatnot, I mean, she is inspirational. She does come with a wealth of hearing people's problems and those kind of things. She may be on a grift at this particular time. I don't know. So I can't totally dismiss her, but I do, but I think she was trying to bring this lady down a peg or two, because she said what she said about a bus driver, and for that she shouldn't have done that. I mean, I get it. I get that she feels like she thinks she's better than that. I get that that's maybe what Vanzant thinks, but I think it was just a mindset, the way she thinks. Why should I come down? Why can't they come up? Why should I go down in my wants and needs? Why can't they come up? I think that's the way she was thinking.
All right, that is well said. Siobhan.
There was a time where a postal worker or even the bus driver, that actually was a high value man at one time. And I think that this is kind of like the fall of Rome within the Black community, where, every time a statue has come down, a new one has been built. And now we're at the fall, the complete fall, where it doesn't look like there's going to be a new statue put in place of the ideal image of the Black man that we're supposed to worship as women. And I think that it's shaking the table, and it's causing a divide within the culture, particularly with the elders and within that generation. And I think that a lot of it is vanity, like I always say, because it almost makes it seem as if their life didn't really mean anything in terms of now the new high value male being someone of not only sound mind, but also of a certain type of status, you know, whether it's he's a tech guy, CEO, whatever. But it's not about the imagery of what those things represent. It's just about evolution. And I think that there's a constant battle that always takes place, but particularly within the Black community, this is a real major battle because this is something that we've never seen before. So this is a complete separation. This is a whole, like a complete separate island being cast off into the sea, as it were. And I don't want to bash Iyanla either, because she has, you know, said some profound things. She's wrote, you know, some good books and what have you not. I just think that this is just personal in terms of we're taking an ideal image from these people that they thought that existed. And I just think this is just deifying, you know, in terms of deifying the image of Black love. I think that that's being torn down because it never really existed, you know. And I think that's where a lot of these battles are coming from, even within the male spaces, with this so-called gender war that isn't even a real war, particularly in our community, because we never really were able to live the full lives within those existences. And once we come to terms with that, then we can just move on and decide for ourselves the lives that we want to live. And that's okay. It's okay to make a choice for yourself. It's okay to research and study and be the best person that you want to be. And if and when you do find someone who is down to take that ride and that journey with you, then you can make the decision accordingly. But I don't think we need to even be focused anymore on these relationships like that. We're living longer than 45, 50 years. We should no longer put this type of pressure on ourselves as humans to be put in certain confines and certain bondage that isn't really well for us. So my parting words are to live your life, find yourself, get in proper alignment, and watch the floodgates open, and you'll meet all the right people. Watch it happen. I challenge you to do that. Good night. Thanks for having me.
Very well said. Very
Thank
well
you,
said.
Siobhan.
I wish I was gonna hurry us up on here, but I saw Jay Daniels left a message that was quite tempting to me. Where is it? Where is it? It was okay. It must be somewhere. Okay, wait. Basically, he said that Black women don't listen, or he was saying something that if Black women listen to Black men, everything would be fine. Let's see where it's at. Okay, it must be up here. Must be up here. Well, at first he said, "My first wife was Black. Big mistake." Okay, that's interesting.
Doesn't that kind of avoid anything else he has to say?
Right.
It's so dumb, just dumb.
Just dumb, right?
I mean, I was high on what Siobhan was saying. I really wanted to end it there because
let's okay. I can't really trust. Okay, so anyway, Gemini, did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, I was still basking in what Siobhan said. Like, it just ruined my high.
Let's just leave it right there. Let's leave it right there. Real good. Siobhan did her thing. Creative did her thing. Heathen did her thing. You know, thank you everybody for coming through. Sorry for the slight technical difficulties in the earlier, but it got all chilled out. We will do another live to keep it all the way live. Thanks again. Here we go.
Money word.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Monica, Melanated, Jenny, Scott, A Lady, Henry Mars, Madison Goldman, MSRV, Miss RV, Monica, Daniels, even you, Gemini, NJ,
Money work, si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar, un lugar para trabajar. Y si no hay pues emigrar, todo money, money, todo el dinero, solo un par de gente se lleva el que tiene interés. Money, money, pasa verdadero, si tienen la verde siempre llegará primero, pero llegaremos antes o después, solo a lo suyo, que Dios te lo dé, si por más que tarde lo veré caer, somos malo bueno y tenemos fe, el dinero ya lo veré, yo vendo mi alma, lo lograré, seré el más grande, no olvidaré. De dónde vengo y cómo voy. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Deontay, Marcine Me, Monica, Hopeful
Money
work. Melanated Vessel,
se arregla con dinero.
Woman in Wrenches.
Money work, yo digo las cosas como son, no quiero ninguna aceptación, tampoco vengo a pedir perdón, porque mis sentimientos se volvieron la canción, yeah. No me vale mucho como tú me ves, sabes tú me llegas solo a los pies, para mí ser grande es un interés, ser un buen humano para mí es un deber, el dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo y cómo voy. Money work, yeah.
You can't get laid.
El mundo quiere dinero, yeah. Money work.
Rika
se arregla con dinero.
Gaming. Madison Goldman.
Money work, corazón. De corazón, la plata no te hace ser feliz. Yeah, de corazón, de corazón, la plata no te hace ser feliz.
Here we go.